and populations with a focus on treatment, curbing racial bias, and emphasizing rehab with punishment. The Criminal Justice Reform Commission made 13 recommendations in its final report. World Series champion Cubs honored by the president before he leaves office. The team will visit the White House on Monday. Last night in the NBA, Wiz over the Bulls, 101-99. John Wall with a game winner with about 5 seconds left. Bulls waste a 15-point halftime lead. NHL, Blackhawks winners over Detroit in overtime. 4-3, All-Star Duncan Keith scoring 38 seconds into OT. Nice win in the MAC for Northern Illinois over Kent State, 74-70. And DePaul, nice win in the Big East over Providence, 64-63. The news, a service of Al Piemonte Ford in Melrose Park. Stop. Before you buy your new car, you must visit Al Piemonte Ford now. Truckloads of new cars and trucks have just arrived, and everything is priced to sell quickly. Al Piemonte Ford is at 25th and North Avenue in Melrose Park. 5:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager is disappointed in today's university.
I don't think that 1 out of 1,000 college graduates knows about the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. I do believe that they know about carbon emissions, however. That is what they're taught. And of course, they're taught about white privilege. Every college kid is taught about white privilege. It's a sick place, the university.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
America was built by people with a few dollars and a dream. But even today, there's still one path to success that only requires a dream and about $10. Because if your dream is to start or grow your business, something as simple as the right business card could make all the difference. Right now at Vistaprint, you can get 500 customized high-quality business cards for only $9.99. That's $9.99, and your satisfaction is absolutely guaranteed. Just go to Vistaprint.com, use promo code 2020 at checkout. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code 2020.
Geico presents a voicemail from your friend, Tree.
Tree here, just calling to say thanks for letting me crash at your place the other night. Well, on your place. It was a rough night. I had a bit too much wind, and I think I might have broke your chimney, actually. So yeah, any chance you'd want to drop off my tire swing? Yeah, I mean, if not, that's cool. Okay, later.
Trees won't pay for tree damage. Luckily, one call to the Geico Insurance Agency makes it easy to switch and save on homeowners insurance.
5:07. Let's get an update on the morning roads. A little less hectic out there this morning as compared to yesterday afternoon with the rain, the wind. Still some residual problems, I would guess, Jim Telemonte, at the airports this morning.
That's right. We are seeing some flight delays, Mike. Those winds are a factor, and there is some weather again around the country. So we are seeing a few arrival and departure delays at both airports, especially O'Hare, and here and there, a fairly small number of cancellations. So always check flight status before heading there. On the Ryan, things have settled down a bit. There was some outbound road work preventing access to the express lanes, but everybody has access to those express lanes now. Everything's open again there. There is some road work at the south end of the Ryan. 91st to the split, 2 left lanes. Some other earlier issues have cleared up, and now on all the expressways and tollways, things are looking pretty good. Traffic is a service. Burger King's breakfast. It's the best place to have your breakfast. How about on a warm croissant? Right now at Burger King, a 2-croissant breakfast sandwiches for just $4. A light, flaky croissant piled high with savory sausage or delicious thick-cut smoked bacon. 2-croissant for $4 only at Burger King. Price and participation vary. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, mainly cloudy with occasional rain and drizzle for the afternoon. High 43. Areas of freezing drizzle later tonight. Otherwise, rain will mix with and possibly change to ice during the evening. Low 25. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Here are your updated temperatures. 26 officially at O'Hare, 27 along the lakefront, 27 Midway. Your next news update is at 5:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Revealed with Randy Barcella. Heard each and every Sunday at 8 a.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, were you at the speech last night?
I did not go to the speech, and it broke my heart I could not go to the policy circle because I have these things called children who had swim practice at Northside Prep. Then the wind blew the power out, so I had to pick him up early. And then we had a game against Latin for the 6th grade boys. And I have to tell you, we kicked their butts. They beat us in the championship a few years ago. Remember, they ran up the score and they didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, so they turned off the scoreboard. But revenge is a dish best served cold, my man. But the best part of last night's game, the referee came up to me after the game and said, he had our app on his phone. He said, did I just ref Peyton and Eli?
Yes.
And I said, yes, you did, my man. Here's $20. Good job, that boy.
Well, you shouldn't admit to bribery after the fact. But otherwise, I'm glad he listens to the show. That's nice.
His name's Jude, and good job reffing.
Hey,
Jude.
Thank you for the reffing.
Thanks for the big win. No, but he, and then he said, I thought that kid Eli was yours because we kind of look like the younger one.
Yeah.
So it was a good game.
Well, that's great.
So I couldn't go, but I came home. We got home just in time to watch all of Obama's farewell speech together. Yeah. And I feel like my dad, because my dad used to say, I can't watch him. He's unwatchable. And I felt like that yesterday.
312-642-5600, Turnkey.pro answer line, 646-36DA is Turnkey.pro text line. Do you have a deeper understanding and appreciation for the past 8 years of the Obama presidency after listening to Obama's 54-minute speech last night? That's the question.
I just felt like it was all lies. I mean, especially when he gets out there and touts race relations and everything's fine now after my 8 years in office.
Now, I've lived long enough to know that race relations are better than they were 10 or 20 or 30 years ago, no matter what some folks say. You can see it not just in statistics, you see it in the attitudes of young Americans across the political spectrum.
Yeah, that's true. Here's the thing. It's true and it's not true. The perception among the populace writ large is that race relations have deteriorated and deteriorated substantially. These are Gallup survey numbers. But they're reacting to what is covered by the 24-hour news cycle. And it's conflict, and it's white police versus black suspects, and Black Lives Matter versus anybody who's not in Black Lives Matter. It's all of the and the demagoguery from all the tax cheats on MSNBC to the White House. So that's what they're reacting to. But I agree with him that in everyday life, just regular Joes, Sally Housecoat and Johnny Punch Clock like you and I, the interaction with people of different races and faiths and cultures goes off without incident.
I don't even see color. I'm not kidding you. It's the craziest thing.
Well, I see it. I acknowledge it, but it's a non-issue. There's no conflict.
But how can he say this less than a week after that disgusting video came out with the 4 African Americans beating up a white mentally challenged kid? And he didn't even mention that.
Well, but the question in response to what he said about race relations being better, okay. But is it better because of you, Mr. President, or in spite of you? And I would say it's in spite of him because he's been one of these people that has cynically used race for political advantage, cynically used race to posture politically. And so, this is what he did. Yesterday's speech was pretty simple and completely contrived. I mean, go back and listen to a 2010, 11, 12 State of the Union speech, and you're going to hear most of what you heard last night. Because what he does is replace high-minded, flowery rhetoric with what has actually been done. You are to believe his aspirational bromides, not to believe his policy choices. That's the scam, one of the scams that he runs. And that's what was on display last night. It was the 3 B's that are a signature of every Obama speech. Brickbats against his enemies, directed towards his enemies. Bromides, as I mentioned. And a whole lot of bull jive about what the state of affairs in this country really is and what his accomplishments really are and are not. Now, and just to give you kind of put a fine point on this.
Oh, yeah.
He had a very specific rundown of his accomplishments, if you agree.
If I had told you 8 years ago that America would reverse a Great Recession, reboot our auto industry, and unleash the longest stretch of job creation in our history, if I had told you that we would open up a new chapter with the Cuban people, shut down Iran's nuclear weapons program without firing a shot, take out the mastermind of 9/11. If I had told you that we would win marriage equality and secure the right to health insurance for another 20 million of our fellow citizens, if I had told you all that, you might have said our sights were set a little too high. But that's what we did.
That's what we did. If I had told you, Amy, that just 8 years ago, we would be arming Mexican drug cartels and killing off 300,000 veterans who died waiting in line for access to quality health care that are guaranteed, and sparked a civil war in Syria that left 400,000 plus dead, and weaponized the IRS to target our political opponents. Would you believe me? You probably said that's a bridge too far, Dan.
I wouldn't believe you.
That's what we did.
That's all you gone done.
Yes, we can. Yes, we gone and did it. So, that's the sense of, but that's nothing that you haven't heard before. And so it was just against the backdrop of Chicago. And by the way, I didn't hear good job, Rami.
No.
I didn't hear.
I was surprised he let him in the room.
No Ram shout out. No mention of Chicago other than say it's good to be home. No mention of Chicago.
Nothing about the murder rate or the, violent crime rate. Nothing about that.
We mentioned this yesterday. New report out over at thefiscaltimes.com. 116th out of 116 cities with populations greater than 200,000 in this country. That's where Chicago finds itself on the financial stability ranking. So no talk about that. As you say, no talk about, in raw numbers, Chicago being the violent crime capital of the Western world. Interestingly, on that topic, against the backdrop of Chicago, remember, why is it important? Not just because it's his hometown, but because he took the Chicago model of governance and scaled it nationally. That's what happened. So, he still has throngs of fans here in Chicago. They were out in force at McCormick Place.
Yeah, lined up at 5:30 in the morning. Some moms took their kids out of school because they wanted to be a part of history. So they sat on a floor in a hallway at McCormick Hall for 14 hours waiting to see history.
And then the reason I thought you had attended the speech, that you had made arrangements to attend the speech, is because I could have sworn it was you holding up the banner that said "Pardon Us All."
Yeah, it was a sign, a cardboard piece of sign that said "Pardon Us All." I thought it was Deb Mel or my friend Sue. I'm not sure. I have a photo here, which I've retweeted this morning.
Your friend Sue must be a very handsome woman. Pardon Us All.
She is hot.
If I'm not mistaken, Pardon Us All, isn't that the officially trademarked slogan of the Illinois Democratic Party?
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Today, mainly cloudy. Occasional rain and drizzle this afternoon, a high of 42 degrees. Then tonight, freezing drizzle late, a low of 25. And for tomorrow, we're going to have snow and ice in the morning, so just leave yourself some extra time tomorrow morning, that's for sure. And then cloudy and cooler, a high only of 30 degrees. Two hands on the wheel today, Jim Talamonte, because it was rough yesterday.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's still some wind. It's still a factor, though not quite like it was yesterday. And we're seeing some routine delays now on the inbound expressways. Stevenson, heavy King Drive to Lakeshore Drive with the ongoing construction, leaving just one lane open on the ramp to northbound Lakeshore Drive. Inbound Ryan now has traffic bunching up. Roosevelt to downtown. Just a 1-minute delay at the moment. Bishop Ford, a 1-minute delay. Cottage Grove to the Rhine. The other expressways and tollways are good for now. I'm Jim Talamonte from the AM 560 Traffic Center. The website is upstream-ideas.com. Premium content that complements what we do here every morning on this show. Podcasts of selected interviews, long-form interviews with opinion leaders and policymakers. This week, Steve Cortez, Trump surrogate, head of his National Hispanic Advisory Council, and our Against the Current series. Follow the Logic. We have a Follow the Logic Man on the Street interviews both at the University of Chicago on the occasion of Sean Spicer, incoming Trump press secretary, visiting to speak at the Axelrod Institute for Political Skullduggery there, as well as last night, the attendees to the Obama farewell address. So be fascinating to hear what their capacity is to follow the logic, as well as 60-second commentaries, podcasts of our Illinois Rising program, which covers state of Illinois politics and policy. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
Mike Rowe here. Today I'm with Frank, one of the heating and cooling pros at 1 Hour. Frank's got his head up a vent right now. How's it going up there? Frank knows what he's talking about. He's been with 1 Hour for how long, Frank?
14 years.
That's a long time. Over that time, he's worked on tons of different equipment, taken countless hours of training, and that makes Frank the man.
No, Mark Rose the
I'm
man.
sorry, Frank. Say again?
Mike Rose the man.
I heard him the first time. For any heating need, call 855-1 Hour today. Say it again, Frank.
Mike Rose the man.
That's what I'm talking about. Each independent franchise is licensed in its respective state or county.
When you present your business card, what do you want it to say about you? If that card has the letters CMA after your name, it says you know the 11 most crucial areas of management accounting. It says you've mastered an exam that only has a 50% pass rate. It says you've distinguished yourself from your peers, all of which makes your business card a keeper. The CMA certification, you've got to earn it. Visit cmacertification.org for details.
Throwing salt over your shoulder to prevent bad luck is a common superstition. But when it comes to driving on icy roads, you don't want to leave your safety to fate. Every year, more than 116,000 Americans are injured by driving on snowy, slushy, or icy pavement. Just a sprinkling of salt on the road can reduce car crashes by 88%. Let's not rely on luck this winter. Icy roads end where salt begins. Find out how at alittlesalt.org.
Does your basement or crawl space have damp, musty odors? Do you worry about indoor gases and pollutants? Everyday living generates moisture that can nourish mold and odors, even asthmatic triggers. Indoor pollutants linked to respiratory ailments, birth defects, and cancers can become trapped in your home. You can't buy health, but you can buy Wave's moisture control and air quality products. Wave Home Solutions for a dry, healthy home. Satisfaction guaranteed. Go to dryhome123.com. That's dryhome123.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
We've got to get to that story
We'll
later.
get to that story. Dan and Amy, the number 312-642-5600 if you want to chime in about Obama's farewell address, which I took to be just basically an outline to be given to the pliant Chicago press corps and to left-wing historians. This is how you shall remember me and my 8 years. So just cut and paste this.
I don't fault him for doing it. I mean, he started his career and his plight to the White House in Chicago, and he ended it here.
And all of those big fans of small d democracy that had assembled at McCormick Place, they had this reaction when the prospect of the transition of power was raised by the president.
In 10 days, the world will witness a hallmark of our democracy. No.
You see, now, I understand that.
That was a great impersonation.
Thank you. Of the entire crowd.
Yeah, and Obama.
Yeah, hey,
Cool your heels.
Hey, pull the reins.
Hey.
So here's the thing.
Yes.
I don't begrudge the crowd from booing that moment. I don't begrudge the crowd from saying 4 more years, because you have to understand Chicago. The rest of the country doesn't understand Chicago. In Chicago, we're used to Chicago Democrat politicians getting to decide when they leave office. Right. We're not used to these things the rest of the country calls competitive elections. So in Chicago, you just have to understand that, this really, the mentality here is Obama should be able to call his shot when he leaves office. He should not be limited by inconveniences like the Constitution, much as he wasn't limited by that inconvenience as president. Ron in Salem, Wisconsin, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. You know what? I really wanted to watch it, but the first thing I seen was Tinkerbell Obama clipping so fast, I thought he was going to levitate around the room and sprinkle pixie dust all over. I was done. That was it for me.
Thanks, Ron. Of course, he's talking about Tiny Dancer.
Yeah,
and
sitting next to his wife and their kids.
Amy Rule.
Yeah.
His smile just lights up a room, doesn't it?
It's something so creepy about it. And it's so sinister.
Well,
he's trying.
The thing that was weird about it, though, when there were moments where the crowd rose to their feet, gave the president a standing ovation.
Yeah.
Then they pan to Rahm Emanuel, and I was like, well, why isn't he? And then I realized he was standing.
Well, I did get a little teary-eyed because I'm a chick.
Yes.
When President Obama thanked his wife, Michelle, for a job she didn't sign up for.
Michelle LaVaughn Robinson, girl of the South Side. For the past 25 years, you have not only been my wife and mother of my children, you have been my best friend.
Only friend.
You took on a role you didn't ask for, and you made it your own, with grace and with grit and with style and good humor.
He's wiping the tear right now.
That's what I think of when I think of Michelle. Good humor.
It's funny. And then everybody stands up and she's still sitting down. And then he went on to thank Joe Biden, and then Joe Biden started crying. And in between them both is
Can we
Jill
stop
Biden,
with listening to the yes?
The Jill Biden is in between them crying also the whole time.
No,
and I kept wondering, where's Sasha?
I just appreciated, by the way, just in terms of the crying, that the Chicago media kept their weeping to a low blubber.
Well, we'll talk to Charles Thomas later because he was in the media pit to see who was crying and who was not crying.
Oh, sure. Waterworks.
But Sasha Malia, their youngest daughter, who's still in school, didn't attend the farewell
Sasha
address.
was there. Malia was not.
No,
Malia was there. Sasha was
Malia,
not.
Yeah, Malia was there. Sasha was not. And we found out why, because she has an exam this morning at school. But don't you think she should have been with her father? Doesn't family come first? I would have told the teacher, yeah, you know what, I'll take the exam later on Air Force One when we're flying back to Chicago or to D.C.
Yeah.
No, I just thought that was strange.
That's not how they roll at Sidwell Friends.
Really?
Private school.
Oh, I know. But it's private school. Everyone, doesn't all the first family children go there? Won't Barron Trump go there to Sidwell?
Yeah, private school. Like, the Chicago Dem politicians send their kids to private school, and 50% of Chicago public school teachers send their kids to private school. It's just, everybody else who's not connected doesn't have money. They have to go to the terrible schools.
Well, I just thought she should.
Something else that wasn't mentioned.
Yes, because Malia was crying too.
No,
the oldest daughter.
So it's interesting. So I did a hit with Erica Sargent over at CBS after the speech to do, for their 10 o'clock newscast to get reaction, and she's very, very nice, and I don't think that she was at all prepared for the assault on that speech that I leveled. And so it was just funny.
I want to see it. Why don't we play it?
We'll get it. But she asked me anything I liked in the speech, and I said that, look, I think
you liked when it ended.
Well, I did like that, but I also think that moment where he addresses his wife and he addresses his daughter, I think that's an authentic moment. I don't begrudge him being a good husband and father, and the two girls being budding, superstars, and it's a nice family. I don't begrudge, and I think that's authentic. But I mean, in terms of the rest of the speech, so I could see that human part of him, but the rest of the speech was just political posturing. But it was funny because I some of what I've said here this morning, I said to Erica Sargent about the speech. And
was she scared? Did she do one of these?
Well, when there were we were getting two shots, cutaway shots and stuff, we were just talking. It was very much like, I think she was stunned. It was like, so how about that weather we're having?
Kind of windy today, huh?
How about those Chicago Cubs with their winning the World Series and whatnot? It was just funny because I just think.
Oh, I want to see it. Did you tweet it out?
No,
segment?
no, I did not.
Well,
yet.
what,
Yeah, you know.
Is it on Upstream Ideas?
No,
Is it
I'll
with the Policy
get
Institute?
to it.
Is it on a billboard?
I'll get to it. But the thing about this with somebody like Erica, who's from Kansas City, and she's been here about a year, and she's great. It just reminds me, and I wanted to remind people, remember how so many people have never heard our arguments. Now, many try to purposely ignore any, contra arguments, but very few people, not very few, a lot of people, even in, high positions and public positions, they just haven't heard the arguments. They haven't heard the pushback because so many people are afraid to speak what they think to be true for fear of ridicule, particularly with the orthodoxy being as rigid as it is in Chicago and to some extent in Illinois. But I just thought that moment where I don't think she's heard anybody talk about the president and his politics in the year that she's been in Chicago like I did last night, which speaks to why we have what we have in Chicago.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm telling you right now, it's awesome. I was trying to get my blood pressure regulated, okay? And after 3 days of taking this thing, my blood pressure went back down to normal. I am ecstatic. I am so happy with this stuff. It is my savior.
This was the first summer that I have not had to have a steroid shot to help me to breathe.
The reason why I'm taking it because I've got Hep C. Once I began taking your stuff, it took a few months, but believe it or not, my liver enzymes are way down and it's normal now. It works.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life, but I should have ordered it like 15 years ago.
Hey, ChicagoRadioDeals.com wants you to take time for yourself to relax, renew, recharge, and here's the perfect way to lower your stress level and bring balance to your life. Make a visit to the Primal Ocean Salt Cave in LaGrange. Your stress begins to disappear when you step into the pink Himalayan salt cave or float on a bed of water that envelops you in color and warmth. Make time for deep relaxation in the aqua massage bed or feel renewed with the Ionic Detox Foot Bath. Now experience it all now with packages that include one salt cave session plus either one aqua massage or aqua escape session or Ionic Detox Foot Bath. These stress relief packages, I'm getting into the zen here, are normally $65 to $70, only $40 at ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Now, Primal Ocean Salt Cave spa treatments are a great way to take a vacation from the everyday. Plus, you stay fully clothed and dry the entire time. And you'll love how calm and refreshed you'll feel. So if you haven't tried this yet, do it now because the Primal Ocean deals are very limited. So for more healthy deals, just visit ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
But, one other favorite part of Obama's farewell address. His reference to Kill a Mockingbird that was treated with tepid applause. CPS educated crowd.
Oh, we used that.
I'm just saying.
Well, we still have 4.5 hours to talk about it.
Okay, coming up, Dick Durbin tries to Frank Pantangeli. Jeff Sessions will have it at 5:38.
And why are the Chicago Cubs heading to the White House? Ugh. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
26 degrees outside. President-elect Donald Trump slamming what he calls a political witch hunt this morning amid reports the Russians gathered compromising information about him. Kellyanne Conway, a senior advisor to Trump, discounts the recent allegations that Russia has compromising information on Trump.
Most importantly, it says that the FBI is trying to confirm it. So nothing's been confirmed. And I have to say, as an American citizen, regardless of your party or if you don't like politics at all, which are many Americans, we should be concerned that intelligence officials leaked to the press.
CNN reports the intelligence officials briefing Trump last week did show him claims that Russian operatives had damaging information about him. President-elect Trump's pick for Secretary of State goes before senators today. Former ExxonMobil CEO Rex Tillerson will take questions. Yesterday, it was Attorney General nominee Jeff Sessions on the hot seat, vowing to recuse himself from any investigation of Hillary Clinton's emails.
With regard to Secretary Clinton and some of the comments I made, I do believe that could place my objectivity in question.
Other stories we're following this morning. Authorities urging thousands in Northern California to evacuate their homes. Rivers swollen by 4 days of heavy rain are threatening to crest way above flood level. The president last night in Chicago saying the U.S. is much better off than it was 8 years ago.
We all have to try harder. We all have to start with the premise that each of our fellow citizens loves this country just as much as we do, that they value hard work and family just like we do.
The president made his farewell address last night here in Chicago at McCormick Place. A jury recommending the death penalty for South Carolina church shooter Dylan Roof. Volkswagen says it has negotiated a $4.3 billion draft statement with U.S. regulators resolving its diesel emissions scandal. All of the thousands of students at St. Charles East High School getting another sick day. School leaders still scrubbing for a third day to clean that school after a norovirus outbreak. An investigation is underway after 3 were found dead in northwest suburban Lake in the Hills. And authorities have ruled the death of Northwestern women's basketball player Jordan Hankins a suicide by hanging. Officials say the 19-year-old sophomore was found dead Monday in her room on campus. Chicago sports professionally last night. Washington beat the Bulls 101-99. On the ice, Blackhawks over Detroit 4-3 in overtime. The news is a service of Burger King's Breakfast. What's the best place to have your breakfast? How about on a warm croissant? Right now at Burger King, get 2 Croissant breakfast sandwiches for just $4. A light flaky croissant piled high with savory sausage or delicious thick-cut smoked bacon. 2 Croissant, $4 only at Burger King. Price and participation vary. 5:36 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity warns of more cyber attacks.
It's ridiculous that we're this far along. 10 years of hacking has taken place, and they haven't done a damn thing.
That ought to anger everybody.
Well, Hannity, you interviewed Julian Assange. He releases hacked information. He's telling us it's wide open. If we'd learned from it, he wouldn't have anything left to print. It's not his fault they're so stupid.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
It's Galaxy's free sale. Free installation, free design, and free financing.
773-783-8300. Call Galaxy.
Hi, this is Andy Bizup from Midwest Performance Cars. We want to be a part of making 2017 your best year for auto service. Experience our transparent repair process with pictures and video to clearly show you what's going on with your car. One-on-one personalized attention you won't get anywhere else. And the Midwest Performance Cars 3-year, 100,000-mile warranty is the best in the business, period. You'll get expert-trained technicians taking care of your European vehicle and treating it like their own. We regularly get customers from other shops and dealerships that can't diagnose or repair their vehicle. And at Midwest Performance Cars, your convenience is our priority. Eliminate the hassle of the usual repair ordeal while your car receives the best care. The drop-off process takes less than 5 minutes, and complimentary Uber and Lyft service take you wherever you need to be. Call Midwest Performance Cars today at 312-432-9492 or book online at MidwestPerformanceCars.com.
5:37 and a check of the roads in our AM 560 traffic center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Coming out of downtown on the outbound Kennedy, we've crashed just reported in the Hubbard Street Tunnel. The inbound Kennedy is still fine. The Edens is clear. Eisenhower inbound. A little congestion around First Avenue. Not a real significant delay yet. Inbound Stevenson is slow. Harlem to Central and State to Lakeshore Drive. 38 minutes, 3:55 to the drive. Outbound 34. Ryan, 17 minutes, 95th to downtown. Bishop Ford, 17 minutes, 80-94 to the ride. Tollways are good. Traffic is also a service of Burger King's Breakfast. What's the best place to have your breakfast? How about on a warm croissant? Right now at Burger King, get 2 Croissant breakfast sandwiches for just $4. A light, flaky croissant piled high with savory sausage or delicious thick-cut smoked bacon. 2 Croissant for $4 only at Burger King. Price and participation vary. Traffic answers when you need them most. Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Cloudy, occasional rain and drizzle this afternoon, and a high of 42. 26 at O'Hare. Next news at 6. Continuous news coverage at 560. TheAnswer.com. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is powered by CharlesEquipment.com, keeping the lights on through winter's dark storms.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So, confirmation hearing for Senator Jeff Sessions is underway, and it was greeted from the outset with protests that were sprinkled throughout the couple of hours that I watched. Code
Did you
Pink.
see the KKK?
Yeah, Code
Yes.
Pink was there in force, and this is an example of the quality of protest you get.
Why am I being taken out of here? This man is evil, pure evil. Do not vote for Jim Sessions.
And I'll tell you what, I agree with the protester. I don't think Jim Sessions should be the next Attorney General. I do think Jeff Sessions should be. So, I'm just trying to find common ground.
Can we play that again? She said Jim Sessions?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Why am I being taken out of here?
Because you're a lunatic.
This man is evil, pure evil. Do not vote for Jim Sessions.
Do not vote for Jim Sessions. Yeah.
That is great.
She does have a point about
Well-
Jim Sessions. I don't think Jim Sessions is qualified.
No, but while we were
Alabama
sitting
Senator
here,
Jeff Sessions, however, is.
While we were sitting here yesterday, Jeff, the confirmation hearings began with this cute little Asian girl on his lap, which is really his granddaughter.
Well, that's good
But-
because he shouldn't be holding other people's children.
But when do you bring a child and have them sit on your, or a grandchild to sit on your lap during a confirmation
This
hearing?
whole family was there.
Yeah, I know, but she was sitting on his lap. She was playing with the doll. And she started biting the doll's foot, and I started focusing completely on her. But MTV, this guy, Ira Madison, came out and
MTV still exists.
Yeah, I said, Sessions, sir, kindly return this Asian baby to the Toys R Us where you stole her from. And then he had to apologize because that's actually his grandchild.
Imagine
who's
that.
Asian.
Imagine
that.
that.
Mr. Racist has
Right.
people of diversity in his family.
Well, Jeff Sessions addressed that straight away, both his opening statement as well as under questioning from the likes of Senator Difey from California, that the caricature that has been painted of him going back to 1986 when he was nominated for a seat on the federal bench is just unfair and untrue. And he's, not just going to sit there and take it.
You have referred to...
That's not it.
This caricature of me in 1986 was not correct. I had become United States Attorney. I supported, as the civil rights attorney said, major civil rights cases in my district that integrated schools, that prosecuted the Klan, that ended single-member districts, that denied African Americans the right to hold office. I did everything I was required to do. And the complaints about the voter fraud case and the complaints about the Klan case that I vigorously prosecuted and supported are false. And I do hope this hearing today will show that I conducted myself honorably and properly at that time, and that I am the same person, perhaps wiser and maybe a little better, I hope so, today than I was then. But I did not harbor the kind of animosities and race-based discrimination ideas that I was accused of. I did not.
And Sessions was asked by the Democrat senators on a range of essentially Trump positions or Trump statements, even after those statements were long ago qualified, like, for example, the quote-unquote ban on Muslims.
I have no belief and do not support the idea that Muslims as a religious group should be denied admission to the United States. We have great Muslim citizens who've contributed in so many different ways. And America, as I said in my remarks at the occasion that we discussed it in committee, are great believers in religious freedom and the right of people to exercise their religious beliefs.
Ooh, I want to hear more.
By the way, just as on a related note,
Did you see this development? The Fort Lauderdale airport shooter, this according to Judicial Watch, is a Muslim convert who years before joining the U.S. Army took on an Islamic name, Ahashik Ahmad, downloaded terrorist propaganda, recorded Islamic religious music online, according to public records dug up by an investigative news site. Sort of pertinent information about the profile, particularly when you consider his mental episode that was identified by the FBI and the psych eval, the commitment for 4 days in a mental health ward.
I don't think they had that information.
Well, so there's
or they didn't care to dig it up.
Well, that's it, right? So that the issue is the judgment call to release him on December 8th and give him his gun back. Number one, and number two, how much due diligence was done on this individual? If a California investigative journalist can dig this up, how can our leading law enforcement agencies not be able to quickly access this information, particularly for someone who was less than honorably discharged from the U.S. Army after he was less than honorably discharged? Concerning. So this is not strictly about Islamists, but it certainly is about Islamic-inspired terrorism and about the quality of law enforcement in this country and the diligence with which they approach these cases. And this is not the first time this has happened to unbelievably terrible consequences. So I just wanted to, raise this in the context of this discussion. If we're going to demagogue the issue from the left for a ill-conceived statement that was qualified long ago by Donald Trump, then let's also talk about real-world cases where there have been failures on the law enforcement side. So that's on the so-called Muslim ban. He was also asked, importantly, about matters related to Hillary Clinton. Was he going to take up a prosecution of Hillary Clinton?
With regard to Secretary Clinton and some of the comments I made, I do believe that could place my objectivity in question. I've given that thought. I believe the proper thing for me to do would be to recuse myself from any questions involving those kind of investigations that involve Secretary Clinton that were raised during the campaign.
So
Perfect answer.
Yeah, that doesn't give her a clean bill of health,
No.
but he says it's not going to be my call.
Right.
And that essentially ended that line of questioning. Now, today, we're going to be treated to
a little showdown.
A first. Senator Cory Booker, New Jersey senator, is going to testify against Jeff Sessions at the confirmation hearing today.
Cannot wait to see how this works.
Yeah.
Did they swear him in? I swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Last year, it's worth noting, Cory Booker was sharing...
Hero, by the way. Superhero.
Oh, we'll get to that. He was sharing, quote, one of my life's greatest moments with the aforesaid Senator Jeff Sessions, speaking at a ceremony awarding the Congressional Gold Medal to the foot soldiers who participated in the 1965 Civil Rights March from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama. Booker co-authored the legislation granting the award with Senator Jeff Sessions.
Oh.
Do
you think they'll bring that up in cross-examination today?
Perhaps. And also this about Cory Booker. I forgot this yesterday when we raised the specter of Cory Booker. He's got a bit of a Brian Williams problem, this guy.
Oh, why?
You don't remember this? We talked about this. Remember T-Bone? Cory Booker's going to get T-boned, I hope, by one of the Republican senators. T-Bone was this Newark drug pusher who Booker would often refer to in his speeches at campaign events. T-Bone was the compelling figure who represented the dangers of the mean, decaying urban streets Booker managed as mayor of Newark, New Jersey, while at the same time, standing for hope and change and all of that, being kind of an Obama protege, or at least desiring to be. Good write-up by Larry O'Connor in Weekly Standard on this. T-Bone doesn't exist. National Review did the story back in 2013. The Tale of T-Bone, which goes back to Booker's first bid for mayor of Newark in 2002 against Sharp James. This is the documentary Street Fight I mentioned.
There's no T-bone?
There's no T-bone.
Oh, no. It's like your little imaginary friend.
Yeah. The T-bone never sat, the T-bone tail never sat right with Rutgers University history professor Clement Price, a Booker supporter who told National Review Online he found the mayor's story offensive because it pandered to a stereotype of inner-city black men. T-bone, says Clement Price, this professor, is a Southern-inflected name. You would expect to run into something or somebody named T-bone in Memphis, not Newark. Rice went on to tell the National Review that Booker told these stories about T-bone to serve a political end with a particular audience. Upper middle-class white people love to hear these stories, somebody who cares. So Cory Booker gave it to them and is still giving it to them. Booker's office said Monday that the Senate historian had been able to find, we go back to the whole thing about how unprecedented his decision to, as a sitting senator, to testify against another sitting senator for cabinet confirmation is, so we know that. But this apocryphal story about T-bone, that speaks to Cory Booker's character, as does his partnering with Jeff Sessions when it's convenient to advance his political interests and opposing him when it's convenient to advance his political interests.
Maybe T-bone will sit on his lap today during the Senate confirmation hearings. Cory Booker's little imaginary friend, T-bone.
Maybe, T-bone...
Reminds me of that football player who made up his girlfriend.
Yeah, Manti Te'o. Yeah. Reminds me of, Carlos Danger, not really, because that's just a nom de plume for an actual person. Yeah. This is a complete fiction. So that's Cory Booker. So,
Can we get to my favorite part of Jeff Sessions?
Keep that in mind when you hear Cory Booker today.
Do we have time, real quick, to get this in? Senator Leahy talking about grabbing women by the genitals.
I know.
Nothing sounds better out of a elderly man's mouth than that. But to question, would you prosecute Donald Trump? Is that sexual assault?
Is grabbing a woman by her genitals without consent, is that sexual assault?
Clearly, it would be.
Thank you.
Thank you. Boy.
If
another
a sitting president or any other
sitting president, right,
high federal official was accused of committing what the president-elect described in a context in which it could be federally prosecuted, would you be able to prosecute and investigate?
Now, is that a question about Bill Clinton?
The president is subject to certain lawful restrictions, and they would be required to be applied by the appropriate law enforcement official.
Okay.
This is so it was kind of one of those, I got you, he's trying to get him.
Yeah, that's a real gotcha question from Pat Leahy. If somebody assaults a woman, should they be prosecuted under the law? Yes, Senator, they should be.
If a sitting president does
Give me a break.
Would he be prosecuted?
The only thing more pathetic than Leahy was our very own disingenuous Dick Durbin, who tried to Frank Pantangeli Jeff Sessions, and he brought Vincenzo and over from Italy. He had two human props in the audience for his questions. One was an African-American man who was pardoned or whose sentence was commuted, I can't remember which one, by President Obama, and it was about criminal justice reform. Hey, hey, dude, stand up. And, okay, he stands up, and then he sits down, and then Durbin asks this question. And then he brings a guy whose parents brought him here illegally, who served in the military, Hispanic guy. Hey, stand up. And then he went on to ask Sessions a question about the Dreamers and about immigration, using human beings as political props. It was pathetic, a pathetic attempt at political theater. It is pathetic that we have Dick Durbin as United States Senator. If you continue to vote for and support this guy, you are pathetic and should be ashamed of yourself after the display that he put on yesterday in a confirmation hearing. It is just the lowest of the low. It is so lowbrow. It is so ignorant. It's so cheap. And
it's so Illinois.
True.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. On AM 560. The Answer.
Last winter was pretty much a piece of cake, but this winter, we're told, is gonna be a doozy.
Well, the Farmer's Almanac forewarns that bitterly cold, if not downright frigid, numbing cold weather will be predominating over these parts this winter.
Not looking good. but you can be ready. Smart businesses rely on Air Comfort to keep them and their customers warm this expected frigid winter. Air Comfort is one of the largest commercial and industrial service groups in the Chicago area, with dedicated factory-trained technicians that take a scientific approach to analyzing your system. They have comprehensive year-round preventative maintenance programs and emergency service, plus design, build, and install equipment for new construction and retrofits of existing mechanical systems. Now is a great time to call Air Comfort and schedule an analysis of your company's mechanical system by their certified award-winning engineering team. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
No more excuses, gentlemen. It's a new year, and you need to stop putting things off, especially when it comes to taking care of your health. Dan Proft here. I know we all hate going to the doctor, so Low T Center makes it quick and easy to get your testosterone levels checked. You walk in, take a simple blood test, and with the convenience of their on-site lab, you'll know your results in about 20 minutes. So if you're drinking coffee or energy drinks just to get through the day, or if you feel like you need a nap, you may have low T. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy and raise your cholesterol, even cause weight gain. I personally recommend going to my friends at Low T Center. They accept most health insurance. They're in-network for most providers and have flexible hours, including on Saturday, so don't hesitate to find out what your number is this new year. I'm sure glad I did. Call my friends at Low T Center today and tell them Dan Proft sent you. Call 630-409-4305. Again, 630-409-4305. That number, 630-409-4305, or go online to lowtcenter.com.
I'm worried that my employees are costing me a fortune every month in damaged or missing inventory. I'm not sure how to solve this problem or who to turn to.
Alarm Detection Systems installs video cameras that watch over your place of business, reduce loss, and increase profits with advanced security. ADS is an authorized Honeywell equipment dealer. Visit adsalarm.com or call 630-844-6300. Alarm license number 127000143.
I can't get the alarm company on the phone to save my life. My alarm's going off all the time, and I don't know why. It's driving me crazy.
Call Alarm Detection Systems. We have live reps answering our phones 24/7, 365. No auto attendant. Call 630-844-6300. Get better customer service in return. Alarm Detection Systems is an authorized Honeywell equipment dealer. Visit adsalarm.com. Alarm license number 127000143.
You've been there, or maybe you're there right now. So many uncertainties making you feel lost and insecure about the future. There's so many what-ifs that pop into your head on a regular basis. Your concerns are real. One day, you or your family may need long-term care or disability help. Unfortunate events can happen with your business or home. And of course, there's dealing with all the changing rules and regulations of healthcare. It's a lot of weight to carry around. For peace of mind and security, knowing you're ready for anything, contact independent insurance agent Eddie Grisco of the Grisco Group. As an independent insurance agent, Eddie Grisco offers more choices, less hassle, and exactly the right amount of protection for you or your business. He's your own personal advocate that can help you navigate all of the overwhelming insurance choices so you can get back to living and not worrying. Contact Eddie Grisco of the Grisco Group, a full-service insurance agent selling all types and lines of insurance. You can reach Eddie at 815-836-8233. 815-836-8233. Get ready, Chicagoland. Rid yourself of those cold weather winter blues and get to the debut of the Northern Illinois Golf Expo at the Lake County Fairgrounds in Grays Lake, January 13th through 15th. This event is a golf enthusiast dream come true and will warm you up fast with great opportunities to get your golf game ready for spring. Don't worry, it'll be here before you know it. Check out amazing deals on golf courses, resorts, equipment, and apparel, and demo the newest equipment from golf's major manufacturers. Plus, get free lessons from local PGA professionals. Try your luck with daily contests and skills challenges for fantastic prizes. Plus, enter to win the grand prize, your very own Pro X Plus indoor golf simulator. Mark your calendars for Friday through Sunday, January 13th through 15th, the Northern Illinois Golf Expo at the Lake County Fairgrounds in Grays Lake. For more information, visit northernillinoisgolfexpo.com. That's northernillinoisgolfexpo.com. Tickets are available in advance on the website, northernillinoisgolfexpo.com.
With GoToMeeting, you can really connect with your team members anywhere.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for video conferencing in. Lou, have the suppliers give... Okay. Marta, when do the designers...
Started yesterday.
Perfect. Rodney, how are
Showed them the first round earlier. We're good.
That's great. Oh, you know what, Tom?
Don't worry. We'll show it to the team in Dallas before sending it to accounting.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay.
When you connect better, everything comes together. GoToMeeting. Try it free at gotomeeting.com.
Liberty Mutual Insurance presents a story about Nana's cake.
It's Nana's 80th birthday, and you accidentally locked your keys in the car, along with her ice cream cake. No worries, this is a happy story. You have Liberty Mutual Insurance with 24-hour roadside assistance, and help is on the way. Liberty saves the day, and Nana even gives you an extra piece of unmelted cake.
Visit a local office or call 844-8-LIBERTY. You can leave worry behind when Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Optional towing and labor coverage. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, Donald Trump's first press conference in 6 months.
And do the Russians have the goods on Trump at 6:06?
But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Here are the stories we're watching at this hour. St. Charles East High School closes for another sick day. 3 found dead in a Lake in the Hills home. The death of Northwestern women's basketball player ruled a suicide by authorities. Illinois' old problems confront a new General Assembly beginning today. Blackhawks beat the Red Wings in overtime. Then Illinois hosts Michigan in Big Ten hoops tonight. Mainly cloudy in your forecast. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Russia calls it utter nonsense. A report said to be unsubstantiated and unverified that the Russians have compromising personal and financial information about President-elect Trump.
The president-elect is now responding to reports that the intelligence community briefed him using an unconfirmed document to make the case that Russian government officials were gathering dirt, blackmail material on him. But BuzzFeed, which is the outlet that published this document, admits that the document cannot be confirmed. So the president-elect tweeted this: fake news, a total political witch hunt.
Fox's Peter Doocy outside Trump Tower. The president-elect will no doubt be asked about that at the first news conference since he won this morning and how he'll handle his businesses while in office. The ex-oil exec, President-elect Trump, wants to be Secretary of State, faces scrutiny in Congress this morning while a senator testifies against another senator at the Attorney General hearing. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, former ExxonMobil CEO Rex Tillerson goes before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee today. Expect lawmakers to grill him on his credentials and his business dealings with foreign governments, notably Russia. As Democrat Chris Coons points out, Tillerson faces opposition from some Republicans.
Senator Rubio, Senator McCain, Senator Paul, other Republicans have some direct questions for him about his views on foreign policy.
Also, it's day 2 of Senator Jeff Sessions' confirmation hearing for Attorney General. In an unprecedented move, Democrat Cory Booker plans to testify against his Senate colleague. Dave.
Rachel, more than a week before leaving office, President Obama bid farewell last night.
Yes, we did. Yes, we can.
Thanking his supporters, detailing his accomplishments, and urging people to stay involved and get out of their bubbles, listening only to opinions they agree with.
If you're tired of arguing with strangers on the internet, try talking with one of them in real life.
You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Outside, we have cloudy skies in Chicago. 26 degrees, 6:02 is our time on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. All of the thousands of students at St. Charles East High School are getting another sick day today. School leaders still scrubbing for a third day to clean that school after what's being termed a norovirus outbreak. However, classes, according to the school website, will resume on Thursday. And yes, there will be finals scheduled next Tuesday, the 17th. President Barack Obama bidding farewell to thousands of supporters here in Chicago last night in an emotional speech at McCormick Place.
Thank you for the millennials and the Generation X for giving us a chance to believe that there could be better tomorrow, a better future.
The president's speech in his adopted hometown of Chicago was a public meditation on many of the trials the U.S. faces as he leaves the presidential stage. An investigation is underway after 3 were found dead in a northwest suburban Lake in the Hills home. Sources say the deaths are possibly a murder-suicide involving a woman and her 2 young children. No one in custody after an Oak Brook Terrace man was killed in a drive-by shooting in west suburban Maywood. Romel Harris was shot multiple times Sunday, sitting in a parked vehicle along 14th Avenue. Authorities are ruling the death of a Northwestern women's basketball player, Jordan Hankins, a suicide by hanging. The 19-year-old sophomore was found dead Monday in her room on campus. Wildcats game against the Minnesota Golden Gophers has been postponed. An aide to Illinois Congressman Dan Lipinski has been found dead in a suburban Chicago home. Cook County Medical Examiner's Office says Marianne Viverito was found in the basement of a home in Oak Lawn. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Oak Lawn police say the department received a request for a well-being check from an out-of-state police agency concerning a woman who may have been injured in a domestic fight. Now, Viverito is the daughter of former state senator and current Stickney Township supervisor Lou Viverito. Chicago sports. Bulls waste a 15-point halftime lead. Let John Wall beat them 101-99. The Wizards were winners last night over the Bulls. On the ice, Blackhawks over the Red Wings 4-3 in overtime. The news service of LifeLock. Grabbing coffee or breakfast if you swipe your card. You leave a trail of digital information that thieves can use to steal your identity. Ever hear of LifeLock? Their U.S.-based team of specialists help resolve identity theft problems. Go to LifeLock.com now. Use promo code RISK to save 10%. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Hi, this is Dr. David Kolbaba. Glad you're here with us today. HealthQuest Radio is Chicagoland's longest-running health news and science program. I've been an integrated healthcare practitioner for over 33 years now, and if you've been wondering what it's like to be a patient in our HealthQuest offices, well, take a look at our website. Go to healthquestradio.com under Testimonials and Tales of Wonder, right on the homepage, where you'll find many encouraging stories of success straight from our patient's mouth. Would you like to be done with those migraine headaches? Get your insulin under control, feel more energetic, maybe having better sex, get that libido in gear again, discover why you eat for every emotion, and then get it under control. On medication and want to be off of it, whatever health challenges you the most, you can schedule your new patient consult with me just by calling our HealthQuest Radio hotline at 800-794-1855. That's 800-794-1855. We'll be back with more HealthQuest right after this.
The U.S. economy has been getting stronger, and home values have been increasing. This good economic news presents a unique financial opportunity for you. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Many of our clients have been taking cash out of their homes, a strategy that might work for you. The smart move is to refinance your mortgage right now with Quicken Loans. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.25%, APR 4.43%. Call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN to see how much we can lower your mortgage payment. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the third year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
It is 6:06, and let's check the roads in our AM 560 traffic center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the inbound Eisenhower, we're seeing delays now from Manheim to 25th and Des Plaines Avenue to Austin. 32 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 30, heavy approaching First Avenue. The Edens is clear. Kennedy inbound, a little heavy out of the River Road toll. Outbound, little congestion in Ohio after an earlier crash. Outbound Stevenson delays start at Central. 40 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 34. Ryan, 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. Bishopford, just a 1 or 2 minute delay approaching Ryan. Traffic is a service of Cintas. The workday is unpredictable. Are you ready? Let Cintas help prepare you. Cintas is your source for fresh mats, crisp uniform, first aid and safety solutions, and fire protection. Get started at Cintas.com. Cintas, ready for the workday. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Mostly cloudy today with occasional rain and drizzle for the afternoon with a high 43. Rain will mix with and possibly change to ice during the evening. Then we'll have areas of freezing drizzle later tonight with a low 25. Snow, sleet, and freezing rain in the morning tomorrow. Little or no accumulation, high 30. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
26 at O'Hare. Next news at 6:30. Continuous news coverage at 560theanswer.com. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Airwaves. Check out the show that's all about making money in real estate every Sunday at noon on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Wednesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Now, I've lived long enough to know that race relations are better than they were 10 or 20 or 30 years ago, no matter what some folks say.
This caricature of me in 1986 was not correct.
We should be concerned that intelligence officials leak to the press and won't go and tell the president-elect or the president of the United States himself now, Mr. Obama, what the information is.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. We're going to have a little confab about journalistic ethics. Won't that be fun?
You didn't tell me there was going to be a quiz this morning.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was going to be a test, Dan.
Well, this is your wheelhouse, isn't it?
Yeah, I've dabbled in it.
BuzzFeed.com posted a story and a document that makes rather serious but completely unverified allegations against Donald Trump that the Russian government has been cultivating, supporting, and assisting Trump for years. He's the Manchurian candidate. And gained compromising information about him that has been circulating among those inside the Beltway, inside the bubble for weeks, if not months. The dossier, which is a collection of memos written over a period of months, includes specific unverified and potentially unverifiable allegations of contact between Trump aides and Russian operatives and graphic claims of sexual acts committed by Trump, documented by the Russians, totally unverifiable and unverified. And they put the document out anyway. What's your take on that? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 646-368, turnkey.pro text line. And boy, isn't that first press conference he had in a long time today at 10 o'clock our time.
Oh.
Isn't that going to be quite entertaining if this issue is brought up?
Oh, it will be, because he's going to asked a myriad of questions. But when that BuzzFeed article came out, it's the same time CNN had this exclusive breaking news. Jim Sciutto over there said that they have classified documents on Russian interference, claiming to have compromising information on Donald Trump financially and personally. It's some 2-page synopsis, memos that were compiled by a British operative.
This is 35 pages. This is 2 pages of the 35 pages. So but it's all of the same kind.
Right. So
unverified allegations that apparently were presented to Trump by intelligence officials on Friday when he was briefed, that he should know that this is circulating if he didn't already. And then BuzzFeed reports it, puts the document out there, admitting that all of the claims are unverified. Is that proper journalistic ethics?
Or is that just downright fake news? Because that's what Donald Trump tweeted, that this is fake news. And Kellyanne Conway was on with Seth Meyers last night to answer this question. But CNN did say, Dan, that there was a continuing exchange of information during the campaign between Trump surrogates and Russian operatives.
That is only based on the unverified claims in that document allegedly compiled by a British intelligence agent. So again, I ask the question:
M16.
Is it appropriate? Is that ethical to publish unverified claims? It'd be I make claims against you as a public figure, and the Chicago Tribune runs all the gossip on the unverified gossip that I gave them about you. Is that ethical journalistically?
Well, ethically, what you learn in Journalism 101 is you need 2 sources to confirm a story before you run with it.
So it's
not
unethical.
Just one source. Oh, yeah. It's completely unethical. And here's Kellyanne Conway discussing that.
Unnamed, unspoken sources in the story, and it says it was based on a Russian investigator to begin with. So where are we?
I think it was based on an MI6 British investigator.
Right. Well, one of those, and then it said that it also may have originated with a Russian investigator. It also says that Hillary Clinton and groups that wanted Hillary Clinton to win may have been behind the investigations themselves. And most importantly, it says that the FBI is trying to confirm it. So nothing's been confirmed. And I have to say, as an American citizen, regardless of your party or if you don't like politics at all, which are many Americans, we should be concerned that intelligence officials leak to the press and won't go and tell the president-elect or the president of the United States himself now, Mr. Obama, what the information is. They would rather go tell the press.
But the report was the press report was about them going to the president.
And it says that they never briefed him on it, that they appended two pages to the bottom of his intelligence report.
I believe it said they did brief him on it.
Well, he has said that he is not aware of that.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, that misses the entire point. Of course it does with Seth Meyers. I mean, give me a break.
Hey, he knew M16 agent.
Yeah,
or the MI6.
Right,
he was all down with the KGB, you know me.
I'm glad he's seen a James Bond movie. Good for Seth Meyers. Even David Corn, it's hard to get left of David Corn, who's the Washington bureau chief for Mother Jones. It's hard to get left of Mother Jones. Even he said, quote, even Donald Trump deserves journalistic fairness in explaining the decision by Mother Jones to publish the full details of the dossier, the full details and the full dossier as BuzzFeed did. BuzzFeed is just a hack outlet.
Right.
But here's why, going back to what you said about journalism, you have to verify claims and get multiple sources. Zero Hedge has this. A post on 4chan now claims the infamous golden shower scene, which is part of the sexual stuff in the. I'm just saying.
Easy there, R. Kelly.
Come
on, reel it back in.
I don't want to go all David Chappelle on this show, but the scene and this is apparently documented in this 35-page dossier I mentioned, that was allegedly compiled by the British intelligence officer, was a hoax and fabricated by a member of the chat board as fan fiction, then sent to Rick Wilson, who's this GOP political operative who is a virulent anti-Trumper, who proceeded to send it to the CIA, which they then put in their official classified intelligence report on the election. Here's 4chan post. Political hacks mail fan fiction to anti-Trump pundit Rick Wilson about Trump making people urinate on a bed Obama slept in. He thought it was real, and Rick Wilson, and gave it to the CIA. The CIA of the United States of America put this in their official classified intelligence report on Russian involvement in the election. Donald Trump and Obama have both read this fan fiction. The CIA has concluded that the Russian plans to blackmail Trump with this story we made up. So just, let that marinate a bit, if you will. I don't know the veracity of any of this, but the idea that we're going to traffic in an unverified claim that's reported in, this questionably legitimate outlet, BuzzFeed, and then we're going to report on, anonymous posts on 4chan and all of the back and forth. Look, it's real simple. You want to make a claim against the President of the United States or a claim of this seriousness against anybody, then prove up. One of the things, by the way, there's some specifics in there that have been already objected to and repudiated by Trump surrogates. Michael Cohen, who's Trump's lawyer, was apparently accused in the dossier of meeting with a Russian operative in Prague last year. He said in a tweet, "I've never been to Prague in my life." So this is where you get into that's easily verifiable.
Yeah.
Has Michael Cohen ever been to Prague? That is easily
check
verifiable.
His passport too. Yeah.
So now so this could be dispatched very quickly. We'll see. But the fact that there is such furor over this speaks to the fangs that I think are being shown by the Washington press corps. Even where you have some restraint, some sense of ethical boundaries by some libs like David Corn over at Mother Jones. Tony on the South Side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, Ian. I keep saying that, Dan and Amy. Now listen, you were talking about ethics in journalism. In order to have ethics, I think you need to be a credible journalist outlet. I don't think BuzzFeed is.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Well, thanks for the call, Tony.
You always have to consider the source.
Well, right, but this is on Seth Meyers. Seth Meyers is Kellyanne Conway. CNN is.
Well, they claim ownership of this. They spent a good half hour. I'm not kidding. This morning, touting, patting themselves on the shoulder. Jim Sciutto, we have this information exclusive to us.
Okay, well, so is CNN a legitimate outlet then? If BuzzFeed isn't for doing this, is CNN?
Now I'm starting to wonder.
By the way, just on the matter of Russian hacking.
Yes. Putin responded. But
let's get to Jim.
Pulp Fiction. That's what he said. He said they're wrong, and this is Pulp Fiction.
Well, he is somebody who has a wallet that says "bad mofo" on it. So here, also Jim Comey testified on the Hill yesterday and told senators that the GOP was also a target of Russian hacking, but none of the information obtained was leaked. He told the Senate panel that there was, quote, penetration on the Republican side of the aisle and old Republican National Committee domains that were no longer in use. Now, this Republicans have previously denied their organizations were hacked. Well, it's old domains that were no longer in use. Comey added that, quote, there was evidence of hacking directed at state-level organizations, state-level campaigns, and the RNC, but old domains of the RNC, meaning old emails they weren't using, none of that was released. Comey said there was no sign that the Trump campaign or the current RNC was successfully hacked, but they were targeted. That's what FBI Director Jim Comey says. So in terms of kind of, the Russian helter-skelter approach to America, the idea is to disrupt and delegitimize the system. However they can do that, however Putin can do that. And so the idea he's playing favorites and Trump is his Manchurian candidate, as is alleged by inference in this dossier. Well, you got to prove that. You got to prove that. Otherwise, it's just kind of the hysterics you would hear on The View that should be readily dismissed.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Today, more clouds, no sun. Sorry about that. We're going to have rain and drizzle this afternoon, a high of 42 degrees. Tonight, freezing drizzle. And then tomorrow morning looks pretty nasty. We're going to have periods of snow and ice mixed together in the morning, then cloudy and colder by the afternoon, a high of 30 degrees. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Southwest side of Chicago. Got a house fire at Marquette and Union. That's 67th, just right near Holstead. Edens, inbound, jam. Niles Center to Cicero. Got a crash there, and it's jamming up in a hurry. 43 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 20. Kennedy, 24 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 22. Eisenhower's 35 minutes. Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 31. Stevenson, 42 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Delay start at Weber. Ryan, 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State getting a little heavy approaching 290. Otherwise, the tollways are fine. I'm Jim Talamonte in the AM 560 Traffic Center.
If you own or manage a company with recycling needs, your goal is to maximize profits while minimizing waste. Chicagoland is home to a leading recycling company stacked with experts in the latest technology and innovation to effectively manage a wide range of industrial waste, including paper, plastic, cardboard, pallets, as well as shredding and document destruction. For over 3 decades, eco and profit-conscious companies have depended on Combined Resources, Inc. for customized strategies and solutions based on company operational processes. Clients work directly with a Combined Resource partner to ensure first-rate customer care, commitment, and convenience. It's easy to find out how your company can benefit from their first-rate recycling services. Request a free audit by calling 630-916-1804 or visit combinedresources.us. Maximizing recycling profits and minimizing waste. That's 630-916-1804 or online at combinedresources.us.
Can students be forced to participate in an assignment that goes against their religious beliefs? This is Law and Justice with Jay Sekulow.
One of the attendants to my church, a young girl, I think she's a junior, in one of her classes, they meditate before the class starts, but she has refused to meditate and has asked permission to bring her Bible in to school, and she's been denied both and told that she does have to meditate with the rest of the class.
Well, I'm glad you called, but let me tell you this, that under no circumstance does your member of your youth group that goes to a public school have to participate in a religious exercise and a moment of meditation. If they actually require meditation in any particular formalized way, would be something she wouldn't be required to do, and they cannot give her a lower grade for it. They can't say you're not entitled to full participation in the school programs. So we'll get some additional information to you and get you some help, but your students should be in great shape.
To learn about a student's right to free speech in school, visit our website at aclj.org. That's aclj.org.
The secret to how the rich keep getting richer is by passing down their wealth, generation to generation. If you do the same thing, you'll be leaving a legacy and be doing one of the most important things possible for the people you love. The ugly truth is, you don't have an estate plan. Everything you own, including your house, cars, investments, everything could be tied up in courts for a year or longer. It could cost your estate tens of thousands of dollars in probate and legal fees, even double government taxation. You can avoid this painful, costly mistake by contacting Tom Fortino of the Alpha Wealth Group. Tom hosts the Alpha Wealth Hour, heard Saturday mornings at 9 on AM 560, and has been a featured expert on Fox Business, Fortune, and Money Magazine. Right now, Alpha Wealth Group is offering you a free estate planning kit if you call 630-873-6326. That's 630-873-6326. 630-873-6326. Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc.
AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, come on.
Rock and roll. Think I'll have me some. Ow. I don't know.
Well, I guess
words.
sticking on that theme. Little New York Times story. Apparently, the sexual harassment problem at Fox News Channel did not begin and end with Roger Ailes. New York Times reporting yesterday, in the weeks after Roger Ailes was ousted as chairman of Fox News, company executives secretly struck an agreement with a longtime broadcast personality who had come forward with similar accusations about the network's top host, one Bill O'Reilly. Juliet Huddy, who was on Fox and Friends for a number of years, and then actually had a nationally syndicated show for Juliet and Mike show.
Yeah.
Mike and Juliet,
Mike
I can't
and
remember.
Juliet.
For a little bit, and then I think she was hosting a local news program in New York. And by the way, her father is very close with Roger Ailes.
Oh, really?
John Huddy, who left the network last summer as well, as I recall. But
And you know her personally.
I do know Juliet Huddy.
Can I say? You
Yeah.
had relations.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my God, this is...
What is wrong with you? I went out with Juliet Huddy for a period many moons ago.
And okay.
Yes.
What, Mike?
God,
What?
it's so gross.
You sound like my grandmother.
Yeah.
Are you having relations?
God, you're embarrassing me in front of all my friends and the listening audience. Juliet Huddy said O'Reilly pursued a sexual relationship with her in 2011. At a time he exerted significant influence over her career. When she rebuffed his advances, he tried to derail her career, according to a draft of a letter from her lawyers to Fox News obtained by the New York Times.
Yeah, real quick, when he made advances toward her, he had taken her out to lunch, showed her his home, and he tried to kiss her, and she was so taken aback and repulsed that she fell to the ground, and Mr. O'Reilly looked amused and did not even help her up.
He specifically, he invited her to his house in Long Island, tried to kiss her, took her to dinner and the theater, and after asking her to return a key to his hotel room, appeared at the door in his boxers, according to the letter. Also, the letter includes allegations. You ready for this?
Okay.
Earmuffs for the kids. Earmuffs for the kids? Okay. The letter includes allegations that O'Reilly called Miss Huddy repeatedly and that it sometimes sounded as if he was masturbating.
Oh!
Please clap.
We're covering a lot of ground here on the old morning show between Trump's dossier and Bill O'Reilly.
But so many people, why would she go to a Broadway show with him after he tried to kiss her at his house and stuff? But he was in charge of her career. And when somebody has that much power over you, you comply, but yet you stand your ground. And I think that's what she did. Because he tried to move in again, and she said no.
Now, to be fair, O'Reilly's attorney said there's absolutely no basis for any claim of sexual harassment against Bill O'Reilly by Juliet Huddy. And this is not the first time that O'Reilly has faced sexual harassment allegations. He did with a producer of his back 2004. That was a little bit more difficult to just wave off because it wasn't so much a he said, she said, because there were answering machine messages or voicemail messages from Bill O'Reilly to that producer that were of a sexual nature. I know Juliet Huddy. I believe Juliet Huddy. And no sacred cows here. So boorish behavior, even from a so-called conservative talk show host, popular one. Not going to paper over that. Not going to paper over it.
We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. It. Do it live.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Do you have glaucoma or high eye pressure? Are your daily eye drops interrupting your life? Local doctors are conducting a clinical research study of an investigational dropless therapy and are in need of participants. You must have glaucoma or high eye pressure in both eyes, be at least 18 years old, and have not had surgery for your glaucoma. Qualified participants will receive study medication at no cost. You will receive regular study-related eye exams by an eye doctor throughout the study. No insurance is needed, and compensation is available. For more information and to see if you qualify, please call 1-877-260-7256 or visit eyecarestudy.com. That's 1-877-260-7256 or EYECARE-study.com. Limited spaces available. Call or visit today. Participation is at no cost, and compensation for time and travel may be available for qualified participants. Visit eyecarestudy.com or call 1-877-260-7256 today.
A great night's sleep is so important to your health, and it's no fun sleeping on a flat pillow, flip-flopping during the night, or waking up feeling unrested. The solution? Order a MyPillow today. MyPillow has a patented interlocking fill that adjusts to your individual sleep needs. It's washable, dryable, manufactured in America, and guaranteed not to go flat for 10 years. And right now is a great time to buy. If you buy one MyPillow, you'll receive another MyPillow plus 2 Go Anywhere pillows for no additional charge. Plus, the MyPillow money-back guarantee if you're not satisfied. Visit MyPillow.com, click the Radio Listener Special tab, and use the promo code AMY. You'll get 2 premium MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows for one low price. Or call 800-489-0201 and be sure to mention the Radio Listener Special and the promo code AMY. That's MyPillow.com or 800-489-0201, promo code AMY.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Boy, do we need a palate cleanser. And for that, we go to Heritage Foundation's Genevieve Wood at 6:36 to do a little review of Obama's farewell address.
And looky here, the Cubs are sneaking in a visit to the White House on Obama's last few days in the White House. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. 25 degrees and cloudy skies. President-elect Donald Trump blasting a report that Russia collected compromising personal information about him and that his campaign reps may have exchanged information with Russian officials. Senior advisor Kellyanne Conway discounts the recent allegations.
Most importantly, it says that the FBI is trying to confirm it. So nothing's been confirmed. And I have to say, as an American citizen, regardless of your party or if you don't like politics at all, which are many Americans, we should be concerned that intelligence officials leaked to the press.
This morning, Secretary of State nominee Rex Tillerson, who was in charge of ExxonMobil when the company did business with sponsors of terrorism, faces some new records showing Exxon did more than $55 million in business with Iran, Syria, and Sudan, while those countries were under U.S. sanctions. President-elect Trump's pick for Secretary of State goes before senators later today. Donald Trump himself finally holds his first formal news conference since being elected president. Topics will likely include Russia and the replacement of the Affordable Care Act. AM 560 carries that press conference live beginning around 10 a.m. President Obama, in a final speech to the American people, urging residents here in Chicago and those viewing around the nation to hold on to one of his most basic messages.
A creed at the core of every American whose story is not yet written. Yes, we can. Yes, we did. Yes, we can.
The president said the U.S. is a better, stronger nation than it was 8 years ago in his address from McCormick Place last night. This morning, Honda Motors says it's expanding the recall of its vehicles with Takata airbags. The Japanese automaker is recalling an additional 772,000 Honda and Acura vehicles. George Lucas has finally made a decision. He'll put his billion-dollar museum in Los Angeles, not San Francisco or, of course, Chicago. All of the thousands of students at St. Charles East High School getting another sick day after a norovirus outbreak. Classes are expected to resume tomorrow. And an investigation is underway after 3 were found dead in northwest suburban Lake in the Hills. Sources say it's a possible murder-suicide involving a woman and her 2 young children. Chicago sports, Washington beat the Bulls on the ice. Blackhawks winners over the Red Wings. And the news, a service of LifeLock. Grabbing coffee or breakfast, if you swipe that card, you'll leave a trail of digital information that thieves can use to steal your identity. Ever hear of LifeLock? Their U.S.-based team of specialists help resolve identity theft problems. Go to LifeLock.com now. Use promo code RISK to save 10%. 6:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Celebrate the new year with a change. Stamp your passport to paradise. Escape Chicago and join Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson, and Joe Walsh in Punta Cana at the Secrets Cap Cana Resort and Spa. It's an all-inclusive, all-suites, adults-only resort located in beautiful, sunny Punta Cana. Time is running out to book your trip through Apple Vacations. Don't get left out in the cold this year. Visit 560theanswer.com and search for the keyword passport.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, great coffee, period.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
They're just awesome. They keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. Everything is just perfect.
Balance of Nature is celebrating its 20th anniversary by providing you the best offer they've ever given. 2 free months of fruits and veggies and free shipping. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
6:35. Let's get an update on the roads in our AM 560 traffic center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Edens is jammed solid. Gulf Road to Cicero with a crash, now blocking only the right shoulder, but it's 47 minutes from Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 24. Kennedy, 26 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 25. About Eisenhower at 83, we've crash reported, and delays kick in again at Manheim. It's about 43 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 33. Stevenson, 48 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound it's 5. Ryan, 26 minutes, 95th to downtown. Bishop Ford, just a 3-minute delay, Cottage Grove to the Ryan. Traffic is a service of Cintas. Are you ready for the workday? Let Cintas help prepare you. Cintas is your source for fresh mats, crisp uniforms, first aid and safety solutions, and fire protection. Get started at Cintas.com. Cintas, ready for the workday. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Cloudy, rain and drizzle this afternoon, high 42, freezing drizzle and ice, maybe some snow overnight, low 25. 25 at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by MyPainChicago.com. World-class treatment for chronic pain. Go to MyPainChicago.com.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So President Obama gave his fond farewell. Bye, bye, bye.
Bye-bye. And then a boy band came in, played behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems appropriate. More entertaining than the Greek columns. Here is President Obama talking about one of the threats to our democracy.
Look, politics is a battle of ideas. That's how our democracy was designed. In the course of a healthy debate, we prioritize different goals and the different means of reaching them. But without some common baseline of facts, without a willingness to admit new information and concede that your opponent might be making a fair point and that science and reason matter, then we're going to keep talking past each other.
Yeah.
And we'll make common ground and compromise impossible.
Yeah, things Obama dislikes intensely, talking past one another, failing to forge common ground, vilifying your opponents just because they disagree. Your opponents, those bigoted neo-Luddites. He dislikes when people vilify those bigoted neo-Luddites who disagree with him. You see?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the sophistry knows no bounds with this president, and he shuffled off the stage, left a 54-minute speech, which now left-wing Chicago Press Corps and left-wing historians can memorialize into Obama's legacy. He just kind of did their homework for them, which is awfully thoughtful of him. For more on his speech, we're pleased to be joined by our friend Genevieve Wood. She's a senior contributor to the Daily Signal over at the Heritage Foundation. Genevieve, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan and Amy.
Morning. So, Genevieve, let me try and pique your imagination. If I told you 8 years ago that America would reverse a great recession, reboot our auto industry, and unleash the longest stretch of job creation in our history, if I told you we'd open up a new chapter where the Cuban people shut down Iran's nuclear weapon program without firing a shot and take out the mastermind of 9/11, if I told you we win marriage equality, secure the right to health insurance for 20 million of our fellow citizens, you might say we set our sets a little too high, Genevieve, but you'd be wrong because the President of the United States did all of those things. Do you agree?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that, he listed a number of those things as accomplishments, but what he neglected to say is that why did all those quote-unquote accomplishments turn into Democrats losing the White House, Democrats losing Congress, Democrats losing elected offices up and down the state ballot on his watch? If those were such great accomplishments that the American people were so proud of, why is the Democratic Party in disarray today? Why, when Hillary Clinton talked about all those things, was she unable to overcome and win the election and beat Donald Trump? I think it's because most Americans would say, we don't like a lot of those things. And frankly, even with a number of those things, you didn't get Congress to do it. You didn't get the American people to go along with it. You either used the stroke of your pen or the courts did it. And so, again, that's not leadership. That's not bringing consensus and all the other things that he talked about. That's kind of an imperial-type presidency, which is really what he turned out to be.
Well, and to that point, part of the speech, in my opinion, was this document to turn over to Scrivener's to codify his legacy on his terms. The other part was a bit of a pep rally to a demoralized Democrat Party in Democrat base camp here in Chicago, talking about candidates running for office and getting involved, and he's sticking around and he's going to help because he is saying, without saying, that I leave the Democrat Party in super minority status.
Now, I think you're absolutely right. And, I mean, he often sounded to me like he was somebody who was actually running for office, not somebody who had just been in office for 8 years. It was like, here's all these things we still have to do, and here's how we're – and it was like, well, dude, you've just been there for 8 years. Well, why I mean, I was a little surprised that he brought up the race issue because, frankly, I think race relations are definitely worse today in many respects than they were when he came into office and talked about what's better than it was 30 years ago. Well, yeah, okay, most people would give you that. But what about over the last 8 years where we've had real times in this country where a president, especially America's first African-American president, could have stepped up and really done something on this issue? He, if anything, I would say stoked the flames. So he tried to rewrite history last night. As you rightly point out, I think a lot of folks on the left will kind of just eat it up. But, the reality is history has a way of writing itself, and I think you're going to see it give him some fairly poor grades as time goes on.
Genevieve, I'm sure, I don't know why I was still surprised by this, that he didn't address the violence issue, the homicide rate in Chicago, didn't talk about the video, didn't talk about ending hate, and the way to end is admitting that it's out there. Were you surprised as well, or did you think that he was just going to gloss over that?
Well, I mean, and if you're giving a victory lap speech, I don't think you can count that as a victory. I think it only underlines what I was just saying about the race issue, of what a failure his administration has been, not just in terms of legislation. I mean, that's something that is a culture and a people we have to work through and talk through. It's not always something you can legislate, but that's where a president should be using, the bully pulpit and really using his office to try to bring people together. And instead, he praised the groups like Black Lives Matter, who may have, some worthy goals, but at the same time has done some things that I would argue, again, just really stoked the fire and did not bring the country together. But, he decided to leave that part out.
It seems to be one of Obama's rhetorical tricks that he's used for much of the past 8 years is to replace kind of flowery aspirational rhetoric where the record is indefensible. So, for example, we cannot withdraw from the big global fights, including to expand human rights. I mean, except in Syria. That to your point about him kind of running like it was a campaign, it's all kind of aspirational and forward-looking because it's difficult to go chapter and verse on the record and match that up with this glowing rhetoric that he is so fond of offering.
That's absolutely right. I mean, what about the part where he talked about the fact there had been no terrorist threats in America? I mean, you have to believe most people sitting there saying, "Wait a minute, I thought I remember something happening." I mean, here's the truth: there have been over 90 Islamist-related terror plots aimed at the U.S. since 9/11. Most of those have occurred on his watch. No, not all in this country, but they've been aimed at us. But on his watch, San Bernardino, Fort Hood, Boston. I mean, you go through Orlando. You go through these plots that have actually happened here, and these are people that were either said they were connected to ISIS, inspired by ISIS, and he acts as though those things just don't matter.
Or they're delinked, or they're delinked from these terrorist organizations overseas. And the point is to say it's really kind of almost Clintonian parsing to say no foreign terrorist organization. Yeah, versus kind of these not so lone wolves, but these one-offs that have been radicalized by the work product of these terrorist organizations to do what they did. So he mentions Boston and San Bernardino and Orlando, but he disconnects it from ISIS.
Yeah, exactly. But I just don't think the people buy it. I think if you ask those, do you feel safer today? Do you feel like we're safer from terrorists today than we were 8 years ago? I don't think most Americans would say, yeah, I feel good about that. I really feel good with our Iran deal, like they're really going to get along with us now. I don't think most Americans buy that, and it's why the Democrats are in the problem they're in. And I would argue if those who are still elected, Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and all the folks in Congress, if they continue down this path and give the same speech over and over again over the next 2 years that he gave last night, and that's their answers to everything, I think it'll be interesting to see. And if Republicans keep their promises, I think it'll be interesting to see if Democrats can get anything back in the next election cycle. Because, again, I just don't think most Americans bought the picture he was trying to paint. Because, as you point out, he uses nice language, but people know what's underneath.
Genevieve, who do you think is going to be the next leader of the Democratic Party? Do you think Cory Booker? I mean, he's trying to, make history today by testifying against Jeff Sessions. Or who else is there?
Well, it's a good question. I think that's one of the problems they have right now. And Republicans have been through this too. Who's it going to be? One of the biggest problems I think for Democrats is they really have depleted their farm team because they have lost so many seats at the state level, whether it's state legislators, whether it's governors. They really have lost kind of, that next group who should be coming up to the federal level. So that there's slim pickings there. But Republicans should be very careful because they have to go back and remember nobody knew who this guy named Barack Obama was about 10 years ago. And even then, he first started running, nobody thought he would have a chance to get somebody like Hillary Clinton. He came out of the blue. Nobody thought Donald Trump would be the next Republican candidate and next president. So you never know where it's going to come from. And usually something like that happens when the other side isn't doing what they promised voters they would do, isn't, fulfilling their campaign promises, like repealing Obamacare, for example. And so, while the Democrats look like they're down and out right now, and I do think they're down, you never count a political party out. And so, I don't think it's going to be Cory Booker because I think he's going to overstep today trying to be the guy who brings down Jeff Sessions, which I don't think he'll be successful in doing. But there'll be somebody. And Republicans, if they don't fulfill what they promised people in this election cycle, they'll be in trouble again.
And to that point, should Trump in his press conference today, should he focus on the future and resist the temptation to comment on what President Obama had to say yesterday, even some of his kind of cheap standard issue bigot baiting about investing in brown people and the like?
Yeah, I think he ought to move on because, look, one thing, he may want to say one or two things to say, what was said last night was rejected and move ahead. But, I think one thing that people should realize is Barack Obama isn't going away. So this will probably be something that Donald Trump and the new administration has to deal with for a while. He and his family are going to live in Washington after they leave the White House because I think his youngest daughter has a couple of years left in school here. I don't see Barack Obama just exiting the public stage. So he won't be given the platform he was given last night, but the left is going to want to keep him out there because there isn't another voice right now. And until there is one, I think they're going to regularly go to him. So, if I were Donald Trump, yes, I would focus on the future, but I'm sure he is with his Twitter account and the like, prepared to respond to him in the future.
All right. She is Genevieve Wood, senior contributor to the Daily Signal over at the Heritage Foundation, thedailysignal.com. Genevieve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you both.
And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Can't do that story. I blogged that as a joke. All right.
That's no joke.
All
That's
right.
animal cruelty.
The sheriff's in some hot water. We'll tell you why. Today, mainly cloudy with occasional rain and drizzle by this afternoon, a high of 42 degrees. Sorry, no sunshine. And tonight, freezing drizzle, a late low of 25 degrees. And tomorrow morning, it's going to be a little dicey around here. We're going to have a snow, sleet mix in the morning, then cloudy and colder. Yuck. A high of just 30 degrees. Let's get those travel times. Very busy man this morning and yesterday and tomorrow. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Good morning. It's very busy on the inbound Edens after a crash at Cicero. Everything's cleared now, but it's 42 minutes from Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 23. Kennedy, 30 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 35. About Eisenhower at 83. There's a crash in the right lane. 48 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. From Manheim, you're looking at 31 minutes. Outbound 34 minutes to Thorndale. Stevenson now 52 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 36. Ryan 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. The only tollway delay is on the northbound Tri-State. It's slow from the Reagan tollway to the Eisenhower. That's traffic on AM 560, The Answer.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Mexico ready to renegotiate NAFTA, a big price tag for a little cough suppressant, and will American apparel still be made in America? Those stories next.
Bill Bennett here to tell you about Augusta Precious Metals. Attention investors, your IRA or your 401k may be at risk again. The 2008 crash wiped out up to 50% of IRAs and 401ks. Can you afford to lose again? What if you could store IRA or 401k savings where you can see, touch, and hold it in your hands? With the Augusta Gold or Silver IRA, you transfer a portion of retirement savings into physical coins you can actually see and get fast in case of any disaster. Call Augusta Precious Metals today for a free gold and silver IRA guide. No obligation. Augusta Precious Metals, A+ Better Business Bureau rating, 98% 5-star customer satisfaction rating with TrustLink.org. Trust Augusta. Call Augusta Precious Metals today at 1-855-222-6993. That's 1-855-222-6993. One more time, 1-855-222-6993.
President-elect Donald Trump has vowed to renegotiate the North American Free Trade Agreement, and Mexico's new foreign minister says he's eager to start that process to eliminate confusion about future trade. How much would you pay for a tiny throat lozenge? The makers of Cold-Ease have sold that brand for a cool $50 million. EpiPen manufacturer Mylan Pharmaceuticals will now own and market Cold-Ease. Canadian company Gildan Activewear buying California's American Apparel for $88 million in cash during a bankruptcy auction. So now a Canadian company owns a company called American Apparel, and it's an open question as to whether their products will be made in the USA. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Oh, it's that time of year when it's gray outside, it's cold, it's miserable.
I like the pain.
It's very painful to live in Chicago.
I was doing my Shooter Flatch impersonation from Hoosiers.
So it's a great way to get out of here and start 2017 off on the right foot. Book your trip to somewhere warm and sunny, somewhere like Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic. I said somewhere warm and sunny. That's where we're heading, Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic. We'll be staying at the Secrets Cap Cana Resort and Spa. Adults only, unlimited luxury resort. It just opened a few months ago, so it's brand new. I hear the beds are wonderful. The food's great. There's 5 gourmet restaurants, 7 bars. It's in a very exclusive part of the Dominican Republic, part of Punta Cana, where the beaches are perfect. There's beach volleyball. There's sparkling pools. You know the drill. So get more information and book your trip by visiting 560theanswer.com, keyword passport. Dan Proft, Joe Walsh, myself, we're all heading to Punta Cana, and we want you to come along. So the trip is filling up fast, so don't wait. And the price that Apple Vacations has secured for us is incredible and exclusive only to us, but it will sell out, so don't miss out. Visit 560theanswer.com, keyword passport.
Mike Rowe here for 1 hour. Today, Chuck is jogging in place to make a point about energy efficiency.
I thought I was training for a marathon.
He's been at it now for...
3 minutes.
And already he's wearing out.
I'm not.
Your heating and air conditioning systems are a lot like Chuck.
Warm yet somehow cool?
Wheezing, wasting energy, and probably headed for replacement.
You're talking about the air systems, right?
Sure, pal. Sure. Call 1 hour before it's too late.
Can you do the disclaimer for me?
Each independent franchise is licensed in its respective state or county.
Thanks.
Here's some great news. Jack Tabota of Tabota & Associates can help you with your retirement game plan. You know Jack, or you should. Jack is the president and founder of Tabota & Associates. He's been helping folks just like you retire successfully for 3 decades. Jack has the insight, information, strategies, and experience you can use to build wealth and keep it. Live good. Retire well with Jack Tabota of Tabota & Associates. 630-777-7955. 630-777-7955.
With GoToMeeting, you can really connect with your team members anywhere.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for video conferencing in. Lou, have the suppliers give... Okay. Marta, when did the designers...
Started yesterday.
Perfect. Rodney, how are
Showed them the first round earlier. We're good.
That's great. Oh, you know what, Tom?
Don't worry. We'll show it to the team in Dallas before sending it to accounting.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay.
When you connect better, everything comes together. GoToMeeting. Try it free at GoToMeeting.com.
Liberty Mutual Insurance presents a story about Nana's cake.
It's Nana's 80th birthday, and you accidentally locked your keys in the car, along with her ice cream cake. No worries, this is a happy story. You have Liberty Mutual Insurance with 24-hour roadside assistance, and help is on the way. Liberty saves the day, and Nana even gives you an extra piece of unmelted cake.
Visit a local office or call 844-8-LIBERTY. You can leave worry behind when Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Optional towing and labor coverage. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company.
My name is David Hochberg, and I'm Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to secure a reverse mortgage, give me a call. Hal called Chicago's hometown bank. You know, the one that counts your change for free for a reverse mortgage. Hal thought Chicago's hometown bank's closing costs were excessive, so he called for a free consultation. I reviewed Hal's loan documents and confirmed that Chicago's hometown bank was charging him over $9,500 in closing costs, which is ridiculous. I helped Hal secure a reverse mortgage and paid for all of his closing costs. Now I know how Chicago's hometown bank pays for all those change counting machines. If you're in the market for a reverse mortgage and want to be treated with respect like Hal, give me a call at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. I've helped thousands of AM560 listeners, but I can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage and Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage License 4358, RMLA, NMLS 19186.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Gina Labus, President and CEO of Mid-States Glass and Metal and a customer of Signature Bank since 2011. As we expanded our business into all aspects of the glass and metal industry, we needed a bank who could grow along with us. That's when we met Mick O'Rourke, co-founder of Signature Bank. Mick and his team took the time to understand the ebbs and flows of our business. They worked with us to find a solution that would support our growth. Mid-States Glass and Metal is proud to work with Signature Bank because they support Chicagoland women-owned businesses like mine.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
We live in an unpredictable world. On any given day, you could find yourself in a state of emergency. Are you prepared? In a crisis, your number one need will be food, but not just any food. Survival food is more important today than ever before, says Frank Bates from 4 Patriots, a leader in self-reliant products. Natural disasters, terrorist attacks, and other threats can make obtaining sufficient food impossible in an emergency. Don't take chances. You need to have a supply of non-perishable survival food good for 25 years on hand in case of emergency. And now you can. Because right now, 72-hour survival food kits are being given away free to listeners, but only while supplies last. This 72-hour survival kit has 16 servings of delicious food rated for 25 years of storage. It sells to the general public for $27 plus shipping, but it's yours free if you act now. Just cover the $9.95 shipping. To get your free supply, go to freefood4.com right now. That's freefood4.com. freefood4.com.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
President Obama remains popular but completely politically marginalized. Is there a lesson there for the Republican Party? We'll ask Jonah Goldberg from National Review at 7:07.
And at 7:37, Stephen Moore, Trump's surrogate, joins us. Was he cavorting with the Russians? We'll find out. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Another sick day for St. Charles East High School students. The president says the future's in good hands. Will get local reaction to his address last night at McCormick Place, and 3 found dead inside a Lake in the Hills home. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. It's a total political witch hunt. That's what President-elect Trump says about reports, unsubstantiated and unverified, that Russia may have compromising info on him. He also tweets it's fake news, very unfair, and that Russia's called it utter nonsense. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has more live.
Well, the controversial 35-page document published by BuzzFeed makes allegations about ties between Russia and the president-elect. Now, the president-elect's incoming chief of staff, Reince Priebus, called it complete garbage on Fox and Friends earlier last hour.
I was in the briefing, too, and I got to tell you, this salacious stuff, the first I've heard of any of these things was when someone printed off a BuzzFeed.
Now, it's been nearly 6 months since the president-elect held a press conference, but that streak's supposed to end this morning with a scheduled event at 11 here in New York. He is expected to get questions on this, Dave.
Tanya, the hearing starts this morning for senators to scrutinize President-elect Trump's pick for Secretary of State, ExxonMobil CEO Rex Tillerson.
He's dealt with world leaders at the top on extensive economic and oil exploration issues. A really fabulous background, great experience. Let's face it, oil and energy make the world go round here.
Republican Senator Ron Johnson, but other GOP senators and Democrats worry about Tillerson's close ties to Russia. Also this morning, a senator will testify against another senator at Jeff Sessions' Attorney General confirmation hearing. It'll be a first. Democrat Cory Booker says he has concerns about Sessions' record on civil rights. President Obama went back to Chicago last night.
It's good to be home.
Thanking supporters and listing his accomplishments in a farewell address and asking people to stay engaged.
For too many of us, it's become safer to retreat into our own bubbles.
Urging everyone to listen to differing opinions. Dylan Roof will hear from relatives of some of his murder victims and survivors of the Charleston, South Carolina church massacre at his formal hate crime sentencing. The federal judge has to accept the jury's death penalty recommendation. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
25 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. Winds are south at 7. At 7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. They're scrubbing again at St. Charles East High School, wiping down everything. And that means another sick day for students. All of the thousands of students are out of school today after about 800 missed classes on Monday because of a norovirus outbreak. According to the school website this morning, classes resume on Thursday. Finals will begin as scheduled on Tuesday the 17th, so students need to stay steady. President Barack Obama bid farewell to the nation in an emotional speech that sought to comfort a country on edge over rapid economic change, forceful at times and tearful at others. The president's speech in his adopted hometown of Chicago brought many reactions.
Great job. Kudos to you. You did a fantastic job with the tools that you were able to work with.
And other stories we're following this morning. An investigation is underway following 3 found dead in a northwest suburban Lake in the Hills home. Police say the three were discovered yesterday inside a residence in the 2300 block of Daybreak Drive. Sources say it's a possible murder-suicide. Authorities are ruling the death of a Northwestern women's basketball player, Jordan Hankins, a suicide by hanging. Officials say the 19-year-old sophomore was found dead Monday in her room on campus. An aide to Illinois Congressman Dan Lipinski has been found dead in her suburban home. Cook County Medical Examiner's Office official says Marianne Viverito was found Tuesday in the basement of a home in Oak Lawn. Oak Lawn police say their department received a request for a well-being check from an out-of-state police agency. Viverito was the daughter of former state senator and current Stickney Township Supervisor Lou Viverito. World Series champion Cubs will be honored by President Obama before he leaves office. The team visits the White House on Monday. Meantime, former owner of a Wrigleyville rooftop business is going to prison. Mark Hamid was sentenced in Chicago to 18 months behind bars for scamming the Cubs and others. Chicago sports, Washington beat the Bulls 101-99. NHL, Blackhawks beat the Red Wings 4-3 in overtime. The news, a service of Staples. Are you resolved to get organized this year? Staples has low prices on everything your business needs to be organized. Right now, get 20% off select supplies, ends 1/14. Restrictions apply. Staples. Make more happen. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
You need to understand that the way you build wealth is you do not use the evening news or CNN or Fox to set the tone of your emotions around your investing.
The Dave Ramsey Show.
If you're thinking of changing your investing patterns because you're watching the news, you need to turn off the news. You are in charge of your destiny.
Dave Ramsey. Weeknights starting at 7. Presented by Wintrust Community Bank on AM 560. The Answer.
The U.S. economy has been getting stronger, and home values have been increasing. This good economic news presents a unique financial opportunity for you. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Many of our clients have been taking cash out of their homes, a strategy that might work for you. The smart move is to refinance your mortgage right now with Quicken Loans. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.25%, APR 4.43%. Call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN to see how much we can lower your mortgage payment. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the third year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
7:06. A check of the roads in our AM 560 traffic center with Jim.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Edens has delays starting at Niles Center. There was an earlier crash at Cicero's. It's 38 minutes. Lake Cook to the junction. Outbound 23. The Kennedy now 39 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. 15 from Montrose. 13 in the Express. Outbound 26 minutes to Montrose. 41 to O'Hare. Inbound Eisenhower jam 355 to the 483 with a crash in the right lane. Delays resume at Manheim, and it's 54 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. 32 from Manheim. Outbound 37 to Thorndale. Stevenson, 54 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 37. Ryan, 28 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, stop and go from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis, and from the Reagan tollway to North Avenue. Veterans Memorial heavy, 63rd to Maple. The other tollways are good, Northwest Indiana 2. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, mainly cloudy with occasional rain and drizzle for the afternoon. High 43. Areas of freezing drizzle later tonight, otherwise rain will mix with and possibly change to ice during the evening, low 25. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
New temperatures just in, 27 at O'Hare, now 29 along Chicago's lakefront. Next news, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continue next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Illinois Rising, hosted by Dan Proft and the Illinois Policy Institute. Sunday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Wednesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Now, I've lived long enough to know that race relations are better than they were 10 or 20 or 30 years ago, no matter what some folks say.
This caricature of me in 1986 was not correct.
We should be concerned that intelligence officials leak to the press and won't go and tell the president-elect or the president of the United States himself now, Mr. Obama, what the information is.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Well, we have much to discuss. Obama's farewell address, the Jeff Sessions confirmation hearing that has begun in earnest, and already opposition to Jim Sessions for Attorney General.
Why am I being taken out of here? This man is evil, pure evil. Do not vote for Jim Sessions.
I'm glad President-elect Trump did not nominate Jim Sessions because apparently he's pure evil. But Jeff Sessions is another matter. We'll have to take that up. And then, of course, this dossier that was distributed by BuzzFeed on Donald Trump. And the only reason we're going to discuss that, since it's unverified, is so I can say the word compromat.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's a fun word.
That's the word for the day. Do you know that?
I love when we use Russian lexicon in the context of American politics, like we refer to drug czars. Why do we use terms of Russian royalty to describe our elected officials? Language is important, and no one knows that better than our friend Jonah Goldberg, columnist for National Review Online, of course, also the author of a number of books, Liberal Fascism, The Tyranny of Cliches, and a forthcoming book I know because I read his write-up, The Goldberg File, every week, which is always very informative and entertaining, and he's talked a lot about trying to complete that book on time to the happiness of his editors. Jonah Goldberg, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, it's great to be here. A couple quick things. One, the Russian words that we use the most, intelligentsia and apparatchik.
Yes.
And the reason why we say czar is that, when I was working on liberal fascism, I noticed this, that in the 1930s, early 1930s, late 1920s, we referred to people with the same positions, so these sort of like super managers, as dictators. And so you'd have the drug dictator, instead of a drug czar. And then, of course, the word dictator sort of went out of fashion by the end of the 1930s, 1940s.
Yeah.
For reasons that we don't have to get into. But, it's in my wheelhouse, so I thought I'd throw it out.
Yeah, no, it's good. But I like secretary better because it sounds like it's subordinate. And I want public officials to have subordinate-sounding titles to remind people.
President, I always tell this to college kids, one of the ways to keep in mind about the role of the president is that, it should be pronounced president.
Yes.
He presides over government. He is not, we've invested in president this idea that it's like this super powerful executive. That's not really what the point was supposed to be.
Very good. And quick housekeeping. Where are you with the forthcoming book? Give us a little preview.
I'm in total book hell. I'm either going to get it done in the next, 5 or 8 days. I mean, we're done in terms of sending a manuscript off. But either that or I'm going on a 3-state killing spree. I just haven't decided.
All right. Well, that's good to know. Thanks for the heads up on that. And what's the topic area or thesis of the forthcoming work?
I'm kind of keeping close hold on that.
Okay.
But basically, it's the sorry state of Western civilization.
Okay. All right. Very good. Well, speaking of the sorry state of Western civilization, Barack Obama opined on that, although apparently things are much better for Western civilization than they were 8 years ago. That was my big takeaway from his speech. But I want to ask you this question because, according to all the polling, President Obama remains personally popular, even though he's been completely politically marginalized and rejected from a policy perspective. Is there a lesson there for Republicans now in power that personal popularity isn't the end-all, be-all? That it's more important to have support for the substance of your work than it is to play the cult of personality game?
Oh, I think absolutely. And I think that's a real danger from a number of different angles with Donald Trump, because he always wants the headlines about himself. Even if the headlines about himself are bad, he'd rather he be getting the media attention than somebody else. And some of that is orchestrated and intentional because he has this sort of, sixth sense about how all press is good press, and he likes to be in the limelight and all the rest, and it was worked for him. But, what happens when, we saw with the Office of the Independent Counsel thing last week, where the Congress tried to do something tough that was right and take a political hit for it, and Trump saw a minute of bad headlines and said, and threw the Republican caucus under the bus and said, I don't want to do that. And I worry about that going forward, whether or not Trump is going to make all of the issues about him and not about like a lot of the hard work to do. But on Obama, look, I get, where everyone's supposed to be a little sort of gracious and give the guy his victory lap and his gold watch and all the rest. And like this morning on Morning Joe, they were talking about a Barack Obama that must have been a fantastic president on Earth too.
Yes, right.
But I thought that for a presidential farewell speech was reprehensible. To do it as this, let me bathe in your adulation for me rally, where everyone's sort of cheering like a mob for, their cult leader while he sort of basks in it. I just thought it was incredibly undignified. I mean, normally there's and people were complaining about the acoustics and people were complaining about the hecklers and all that. Well, the way you avoid that in your farewell address is give it from the Oval Office like every other president.
Well, he wanted to come back home where it all started.
Oh, that's not the Chicago way. You got to understand the Chicago political culture, Jonah. That's how we do it here. I mean, you as I was saying earlier, I mean, the chance of 4 more years, people outside Chicago have to understand, here we're not used to Democrat politicians being forced from office. Usually they get to decide when they leave office.
Well, in fairness, though, haven't like 50% of your governors over the last 30 years been forced from office because they went to jail?
Well, that's right. Yeah. So that's a bipartisan
that's
concern. Yes.
It's either jail or the grave, right?
Yes, that's right. That's right. Well, but I mean, on Obama's farewell speech, don't you think, though, that was just basically, here is the skeletal outline for you in the Beltway press corps in terms of properly recording my president for time immemorial, my presidency?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's all of that. There's, it's legacy padding, which you expect from any farewell address. You expect from any outgoing president. They're going to highlight the positive. But the tone and tenor and style of that thing was much more like Bill Clinton's 2000 Democratic Convention speech, where, he comes in and just talks about how great the 1990s were and then says, now elect Al Gore. And it was much more of a preening kind of thing. And there were actually, as a matter of text, there were a bunch of things that Obama said in there that I actually agree with, but there were a bunch of things in there that were sort of patently ludicrous, like him saying that if you don't buy into his agenda on climate change, you're essentially you're defying the spirit of America, and that you're basically unpatriotic and anti-innovation. I mean, there's a lot of these classic sort of straw man cheap shots buried in what sounded like highfalutin rhetoric, and I thought just between that and the sort of ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has left the building tone to the whole thing was just undignified. And I think people don't appreciate how much of the sort of the Trump phenomenon comes on the heels of the Obama phenomenon. I mean, Obama talked with a bigger vocabulary and he talked with his sort of a more presidential tone, but it was such a cult of personality thing, such a celebrification of the presidency under Obama. And if you didn't like the celebrity president that the media was cramming down our throats, you looked for your own celebrity president, and they found it in Donald Trump. And I think Barack Obama's biggest legacy, whether you want to call it positive or negative, is the Trump presidency.
Yeah, and what he also mentioned, too, that some people aren't more Americans than others, that we're all Americans. He tried to, unite everybody, but...
Except for those bigoted neo-Luddites that oppose him.
Let me just be clear. He says, the sort of signature line from his speech last night was, what was it? It was democracy rises or falls. Democracy rises or falls when we're all in it together, or we're all together. I mean, it's something like that. And actually, that's really not the definition of democracy. And he has this, he keeps talking about how there's a need for solidarity in democracy and that we're all in it together. We all rise and fall as one. That was the line. The idea that democracy is all about all of us rising or falling as one is preposterous. There are a lot of ideologies that believe that everything in the state, nothing outside of the state, but it's not democracy. In democracy, people get to go their own way. And people get to disagree. And democracy is about disagreement, not about agreement.
Speaking of political theater, there was additional political theater over on the Hill with the Senate confirmation hearing getting underway for Attorney General nominee Senator Jeff Sessions. And a lot of people focused on the back and forth between Di-Fi, between Patrick Leahy. I want to focus on our hometown disingenuous demagogue, that is Dick Durbin. Did you see him try and Frank Pantangeli Jeff Sessions with the stand up Mr. guy who just got his sentence commuted by President Obama, stand up guy who came to this country legally with his parents and served in the military? Now Jeff Sessions respond to those people. I thought that was so disgraceful and frankly a pathetic attempt to try and derail a nomination the Democrats know they can't derail.
Yeah, I heard about it. I didn't see that part of the hearing, but I think in general, I mean, the whole, the fact that Cory Booker is the first sitting senator to testify against a sitting senator, I think, is just sort of reprehensible. And I think really the way to look at these hearings is they can't, you're right, they can't derail the nomination. So that's really not the point. The point is to bloody Sessions a little bit, to sort of put him, wrap him on the nose with the newspaper and say, these are things that you can't touch. And also to set up the messaging for 2018 and 2020. I mean, Cory Booker might as well announce in his testimony that he's a candidate for president in 2020 because there's no other reason for him to be doing that.
Well, and should Senate Republicans then on the Judiciary Committee, taking from the good work that National Review did on this topic, should they T-bone one Cory Booker when he appears today?
Get it? Huh? Isn't Dan clever?
I think they should, they should put him, on notice that people are just sort of, let the public know what a craven act of political opportunism this is, that what Cory Booker is doing, and what the Democrats are doing in general, is not about, it's all kabuki theater to set up a climate to give, it's as much as Obama's speech last night was a sort of tutorial to the media about how to frame issues. That's what they're trying to do in these hearings. I don't know, unless someone screws up or something is uncovered, I don't think I think Trump is right. All of these nominees are going to get confirmed. If I had to bet on the one who is in the most likely to get in trouble, it would be Steve Mnuchin for Treasury, but I think he'll probably get confirmed too. And what the Democrats are doing is just a lot of sour grapes. That's why they're constantly going off on the, I think we should investigate the Russia meddling into the election and all that, but they are harping on it in a way because what they are trying to do over and over again is lay down these markers that this entire government, this entire administration is going to be illegitimate.
Real quick before we let you go, Jonah Goldberg, I read your article about Trump's Twitter fixation. Do you think we even need a White House press corps? I mean, really, I wake up every morning, all I do is I look to Twitter to see what Donald Trump tweeted overnight. Do you think he's going to have the same access to Twitter once he officially becomes president?
Sean Spicer's job is to interpret those tweets for us, yes.
That's right. They're like goat entrails and ancient priest. He says he's going to hold on to it. His people say he's going to hold on to it. And, but part of the point I was trying to get through in that piece was that Trump has this tendency to sort of want to triangulate against his own side, too, and show that he's his own man. That's fine. That's how he won the presidency. But the problem is that whether he uses Twitter or whether it's just his impulse, there's a lot of really hard work that conservatives want to get done in this administration. A lot of serious conservatives want to get in and do important stuff about all sorts of things, and it's going to create really bad headlines. And is Trump, in a spur of the moment, going to see something on Morning Joe, see Al Sharpton yelling at Donald Trump about something and say, oh, my gosh, I have to disagree with the Republicans and throw the Republicans under the bus? It's a real concern for people who want to go into his administration and do good work from the right.
All right, he is Jonah Goldberg. We'll see a little bit of whether Trump can resist those temptations or not with his presser today at 10 a.m., which we'll broadcast live on these airwaves. Jonah Goldberg, columnist for National Review, author of Liberal Fascism, Tyranny of Cliches, and another forthcoming book on Western civilization or a crime spree. We don't know which. We'll find out.
Jonah, it'll be written in blood in a motel room.
Jonah, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Well, no sunshine today. Sorry, it's going to be cloudy. Can I speak English? Cloudy with occasional rain and drizzle this afternoon. A high of 42 degrees tonight. Freezing drizzle, and tomorrow morning is going to be a mess. We're going to have snow mixed in with ice, some sleet, and then in the afternoon, cloudy and colder. A high of just 30 degrees. So enjoy today if you can. Anything enjoyable on the roadways? Here's Jim Talamonte.
Already arrived on the inbound Eisenhower with big delays starting from 355 to be 483 where the right lane's blocked. There's a crash. Car left the road, hit a tree. Delays resume again farther in at 25th. It's an hour and 12 minutes Thorndale to downtown, but 35 minutes from Manheim outbound 41 to Thorndale. Eden's gotten a little better. 31 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 25 at the Kennedy. Now 42 minutes O'Hare to downtown outbound 38. Stevenson, 57 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 38. Ryan, 28 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, now slow Irving Park to North Avenue and 18th to the Stevenson. Northbound Tri-State snarl from the Stevenson to 31st and from the Reagan all the way to North Avenue. I'm Jim Talamonte in the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Hey, you know you secretly want to be a rock star? Well, ChicagoRadioDeals.com can put you one step closer to living out your dream with these deals from Midlothian Music. You can bang on the drums all day with your own Tama Imperial Star 5-piece drum kit that includes cymbals, stands, and throne for only $350. That's a $700 value. Pick your color that best matches your personality. Or create your own sound with the Casio Privia digital piano, which feels and sounds like a real piano. Now, this keyboard is also $350 and comes with a matching stand. Or play your favorite riff on a Taylor mahogany and spruce Grand Auditorium acoustic electric guitar. This full-size handmade instrument is a gorgeous guitar, which retails for about $1,000, but it's half the price if you go to ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Midlothian Music is dedicated to bringing you the best selection of American-made, handcrafted instruments, plus you'll experience exceptional customer service with every purchase. So find out all these rockin' deals and more at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
A couple years ago, I had a severe accident which disabled my right hand and caused chronic pain and complete suffering. It took many years before really we figured out exactly what it was or how to treat it. My whole goal was I did not want to be on high levels of pain medicine. After some time, I went to see Dr. Kenneth Candido to try to figure out the source of the pain and a solution and how to solve it. He listens. I'm going to cry because it's so real. I've been through so much, and he wants to help his patients, and he's there for me whenever I need him.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. I have a simple message for you. If you or someone you love or someone you know has chronic pain, contact us. Treating chronic pain issues is what we do. We can make it better. Get an appointment and let's talk. MyPainChicago.com, MyPainChicago.com. All the info is available at MyPainChicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
Hi, Amy Jacobson here. You know, the best home improvement decision I ever made was to call CertaPro Painters. No joke. Last spring, their trained, talented painters magically reformed my porch. Property values actually went up. But now that winter is set in, let's get your interior painting done, and CertaPro Painters are the only ones to call. You know, CertaPro Painters is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year, and we invite you to experience the CertaPro difference. When they come into your home, they are so quiet they won't wake a baby. And guess what? The best part is they clean up after themselves. So with this new year, you should refresh and renew your living space. Book your interior painting project today. For a free estimate, call our good friends over there at CertaPro at 1-800-GO-CERTA. That's CERTA with a C. Or visit CertaPro.com. And we invite you to experience the CertaPro difference. I'm glad I called them. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
The most recent U.S. Supreme Court decision on the Affordable Care Act made one thing certain. We will all have to deal with this ever-changing law until at least 2017. If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. That's right, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating AM 560 listeners on the Affordable Care Act for the last 5 years.
Thanks, Dan. From now until January 31st, you cannot be denied coverage based on a pre-existing condition. Aetna, Coventry, United Healthcare, and Harkin Health no longer offer health insurance subsidies even if you qualify. One company still does, and they still offer plans that provide access to Northwestern Memorial, University of Chicago, and Rush University Medical Centers. Call me. I can help.
Thanks, Steve. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
Hey, do you need to sell your home right now? Has it been on the market so long that your listing expired? Well, I know the man who will absolutely sell your home now. It's Saul Z and the Z team, and he needs homes right now all over Chicagoland. Now, Saul's database of thousands of buyers are looking for homes in the $250,000 to $750,000 range. There's likely a buyer for you right now, but don't wait. On average, Saul sells a home every single day. No other agent sells your home quicker or for more money, and he's so confident that he will sell your home that he's offering this great deal, a 59-day guarantee. List your home with Saul. If it's not under contract within 59 days, Saul sells it for free without his commission. Again, 59 days, or he'll sell it for free. And Saul needs homes to sell right now. So if you're thinking about selling, call Saul Z at 888-346-0666. If you want to buy a home, call Saul Z at 888-346-0666. Or you can go online at callsaul.net. That's callsaul.net. And please tell Saul that I sent you. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Why are we paying to put fish on treadmills? We'll ask Steve Moore, Chief Economist at the Heritage Foundation at 7:37.
That's awesome. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
28 degrees, cloudy skies, and the president-elect this morning tearing into what he calls a political witch hunt amid reports Russia has been aiming compromising information at him. Incoming White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus telling ABC's Today Show moments ago, the report, in his words, is shameful.
This is not an intelligence document. This is some retired agent somewhere out in the world that was doing opposition research on Donald Trump during the campaign.
Without directly referencing those reports, Trump tweeted out against what he referred to as fake news. Trump will likely field questions on Russia, his cabinet picks, and plans to repeal and then replace the Affordable Care Act when he holds a news conference at Trump Tower in New York. The press conference expected to begin at 10 a.m. right here on AM 560. Former ExxonMobil CEO Rex Tillerson will face tough grilling in front of the Senate when his confirmation hearing gets underway. Senators will also consider the nomination of Elaine Chao as Transportation Secretary. A jury recommending the death penalty for South Carolina church shooter Dylan Roof. And Volkswagen says it has negotiated a $4.3 billion draft settlement with U.S. regulators to resolve its diesel emission scandal. All of the thousands of students at St. Charles East High School getting another sick day. School leaders there are scrubbing down for a third day after a norovirus outbreak. Authorities rule the death of Northwestern women's basketball player Jordan Hankins a suicide by hanging. The 19-year-old sophomore was found dead Monday in her room on campus. Illinois' old problems now belong to a new set of lawmakers. The state's legislature will take the oath of office later today to begin its 100th session. Chicago sports, Washington over the Bulls, 101-99. John Wall, the game winner, and the Bulls waste a 15-point halftime lead. NHL, Duncan Keith scores 38 seconds into the OT, and the Blackhawks win over Detroit 4-3. The news service of Staples. Are you resolved to get organized this year? Staples has low prices on everything your business needs to be organized this year, like banker's boxes, file folders, and storage bins. And right now, get 20% off select supplies. Ends 114. Restrictions apply. Staples, make more happen. 7:35 and a check of 32 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher tells the president it's time to worry about other things.
But Mr. Putin is well aware of my feelings about this because I spoke to him directly about it.
Mr. President, you got to just pack. You just got to pack your bags. You got to pack up the furniture. You just got to pack up your furniture. You got to get the movers all lined up. You're moving out. You're not going to retaliate against Russia.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
It's Galaxy's free sale. Free installation, free design, and free financing.
773-783-8300. Call Galaxy.
Attention market watchers. Until recently, the market hadn't seen back-to-back days of 500-point losses since November of 2008. What if you had no market exposure? What if you didn't have to worry about the markets? How would you sleep? Leave the volatility behind. Hi, this is Jack Taboda. Our proprietary income strategies provide reliable, inflation-protected income, guaranteed for life, with no market exposure. Call me at 630-777-7955. That's 630-777-7955. You've worked hard to build your wealth. I work hard to protect it. 630-777-7955.
Insurance products may be presented and guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the insurance company represented. Securities offered through ProEquities Inc., a registered broker-dealer and member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Harvest Investment Services LLC, a registered investment advisor. Taboda and Associates and Harvest Investment Services LLC are independent of ProEquities Inc.
7:34. Let's check the roads at our AM 560 traffic center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. In Hinsdale, we see delays on northbound 83, 63rd to Ogden with a crash. On the northwest side of Chicago, big jam around Irving Park and Elston where the signals are malfunctioning. Eden's inbound 29 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 25 at Kennedy. Now an hour and 5 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 36 minutes. The Eisenhower is an hour and 3 minutes from Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 40 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 3 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 38 minutes. Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown, northbound Tri-State heavy. Stevenson to 31st, Reagan Flowway to North Avenue. Traffic service of LifeLock. Grabbing coffee or breakfast? If you swipe your card, you leave a trail of digital information thieves can use to steal your identity. We're here at LifeLock. Their U.S.-based team of specialists help resolve identity theft problems. Go to LifeLock.com now. Use promo code RISK to save 10%. Traffic Answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Mainly cloudy today. Rain and drizzle, though, in the afternoon. High 42, freezing drizzle, ice, maybe a bit of snow overnight, low 25. It appears there may be a winter weather advisory north of the border in Wisconsin into the overnight hours, so drive with care a little more north of the Cheddar Curtain overnight and into tomorrow morning, where we'll have a high of 30 degrees. 27 right now. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, the left is in full smear mode. Both left-wing elected officials as well as their handmaidens in the D.C. Press Corps. Of course, the D.C. Press Corps, that's a reference to the BuzzFeed unverified story about this 35-page dossier, a summary of which was allegedly presented to Donald Trump when he was briefed by intelligence officials on Friday, which suggests that there is compromising information that the Russians have on Donald Trump with respect to personal conduct, with respect to aides communicating with the Russians that
And his
could
finances.
that could hang over his head as president, that could allow the Russians to blackmail President Trump. Totally unverified, rejected by Trump. Michael Cohen, one of his attorneys, who is alleged to have gone to Prague to visit some Russian operative, said, "I've never been to Prague in my life," in response to this unverified, unethical story in BuzzFeed that's been picked up by CNN and is being discussed on all the channels.
I think CNN had it first because they're triumphing their accomplishments this morning, saying Jim Sciutto, the reporter who broke the story, and saying that basically that Trump surrogates were in contact with Russian operatives during the campaign.
Right. CNN saying to BuzzFeed, "We were unethical before you were unethical." Boy, what a competition.
They haven't walked back the story yet.
Well, of course not. It's a smear campaign. That's the point of smear campaign. You don't walk it back. That's the purpose is what they're doing. You also have this story in Politico. The headline, I love that. Ex-wife of Labor nominee leveled abuse claims on Oprah. This is with respect to Andrew Puzder, who is Trump's nominee for Labor Secretary. He's the CEO of fast food chains.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Those racy commercials?
Yeah. Puzder's ex-wife accused him of, quote, having assaulted and battered her by striking her violently about the face, chest, back, shoulders, and neck without provocation or cause. She suffered severe permanent injuries. This goes back to a 1988 petition obtained by Politico from the Circuit Court of St. Louis County. And then you go 10 paragraphs down, and you find that Puzder and Fierstein claim amicable relations today. Fierstein says they have even shared Thanksgiving dinner.
That's a big deal.
And, no, this is the big deal. In an email to Puzder last November, disclosed by him, his ex-wife wrote, quote, "You know how deeply I regret many of the rash decisions I made at the time, and I sincerely hope that none of those decisions will become an issue for you. You were not abusive." Okay, but that's belied by the headline. You got to go 16 graphs down to read the comeuppance, if you will, to be fair. I mean, this is so unfair that going back to the BuzzFeed CNN story, even left-wing crank David Corn over at Mother Jones wouldn't publish the dossier saying even Donald Trump deserves some journalistic fairness. And then Cory Booker, he have fantastical stories about fictional drug dealers in Newark, New Jersey, testifies before Jeff Sessions today to continue the left's theme of Jeff Sessions as a racist, which was battered around yesterday in the day one of the confirmation hearings. So for more on this and what comes next on the personnel, because personnel is policy, we're happy to be joined by Steve Moore. He's the chief economist at the Heritage Foundation. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hi, guys. Good morning. I just listened to your soliloquy, and, the words of the great Rodney King came to mind. Can't we all just get along?
Well, that's clearly not. No, clearly we cannot. What about that? I mean, do you see any trouble ahead? I mean, in your particular area of focus for any of Trump's cabinet nominees who are in the space of economic policy?
I think that the charges against and the allegations against Senator Sessions are ridiculous. Anyone who knows the man, and I've been around Senator Sessions for 20 years, and it's one of the most honorable men I've met in politics. And the fact that he's a white man from Alabama makes him a racist, right? I mean, those allegations are ridiculous. Andy Puzder, I've known for many years. He's an amazing businessman. He saved thousands of jobs. Of course, you don't see that in any of these allegations against the guy. He is a job creator. He is a great businessman, and how should that be disqualifying? And when you were reading that little text about these allegations in the divorce settlement, I was thinking, my God, thank God no one, I didn't get a cabinet appointment and somebody opened up my divorce document because, I think people who've gone through divorces know this, that, spouses will say, terrible things about their ex-spouse in a divorce settlement. I mean, that just happens. That is standard there. I have a great relationship with my ex-wife, but, some of the things that she said about me and I said about her in the divorce settlement, I would never want to have that so public. So, these are just, BS charges, and I think the left is trying, it's character assassination. The only one who I think is in, who the left is going to make a really aggressive play at and might succeed, although I doubt it, is the EPA director. And I think that Pruitt is a great man. He's fantastic for the job. But I only mean this in the sense that the left has their fangs out for him, especially because he's a free market guy. And he doesn't kowtow to the Greens. And they're going to go very aggressively after him and say, oh, he's a climate change denier and all of these things. And we'll see whether that causes him any trouble.
What about something that I think was grossly missed yesterday was the Homeland Security General John Kelly, because he would back down on waterboarding, he backed down on targeting Muslims with surveillance, and he isn't giving full support now of the wall.
Well, I have to confess I didn't watch that hearing. I just watched a few minutes of it when it was on Fox News, so I don't really have much to say about that. I don't know the man. I'm not a foreign policy expert, so I can't really comment on that.
Yesterday, Jeff Flake, senator from Arizona, released his latest volume of what he calls Waste Book.
I did see that.
Porky Man Go. He's so current.
Oh, is it really called
Porky Man Go? Oh, gosh. Anyway.
Have you played Pokemon Go yet?
No.
Either of you cats?
And I'm not going to. $5 billion in inappropriate spending by federal agencies and departments, $5 billion in a $4 trillion budget. But I guess in part explains why we have a $4 trillion budget. One example, $1.5 million in grants to the National Science Foundation to test what happens when fish use treadmills. Not kidding.
What?
That
is ridiculous.
This reminds me.
Was that the one about the fish going? How fast the fish go down the treadmill? Is that the
correct?
One,
yes.
That was my favorite. They have a video of that, folks. It's wonderful to behold. It's just so nice to see your taxpayers are working. Boy, those fish they can really scuttle down that treadmill.
Well, and the only way you know is if you get a grant from the National Science Foundation to test that hypothesis. So now we know that's very, very valuable. But here's the question.
And by the way, there's another one. Dan, did you see $500,000 for why Americans don't like to go to the dentist? And I have the answer to that. It does cost $500,000. The drill.
Right.
That's why we don't like going to the dentist.
You could have paid me $450,000 to tell you that. I could have undercut the grant recipient. But here's the question. So the Jeff Flake Waste Book, Tom Coburn used to do this when he was in the Senate from Oklahoma.
Yep, sure.
And so
by the way, you guys know the original guy who did this was the senator from Wisconsin. Blanking on his name, he did the Golden Fleece Award. Remember that? What was Proxmire?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
He was the originator of this. And, the fact is, I've been in politics and in policy for 5 years. This has been going on year after year, and now nobody ever cuts it out. And this is, I think there's a serious point here that I want to get to, though. There is so much waste brought in the federal agencies. And I got to tell you, I've been to some of these transition meetings, and they're serious about not taking, a paper knife to these budgets, but taking a chainsaw and cutting and cutting and cutting. 10, 15% cuts in some of these agencies, in some cases 20%, in some cases just getting rid of the agencies we don't need. I have to tell you, there is so much waste. $160 billion, $160 billion, according to the federal government's own auditors, in fraudulent payments from Medicare, Social Security, food stamps, EITC, Medicaid, all these programs, and nobody for 25 years has done a damn thing about it.
Well, that's the that's less than 5% of the federal budget, but it's still important, and that's the real question. And it seems to me one of the litmus tests.
Not a lot of money.
Well, yeah, I understand, but I mean, in context, we have to put things in context. But it seems to me the general litmus test for Republican success and Trump's success is going to be not reducing the rate of spending, but are we really going to shrink the size and scope and expense of the federal government?
It's a tough thing to do. Look, I'd love to see it, and I'm going to do everything I can as hopefully part of this team to make it happen. But, we're against a behemoth in Washington. Every special interest group is out there, trying to protect their turf. It's an incredibly difficult thing to do, but I agree with you. Trump is going to be judged on whether he can actually slay this dragon. And, what was his metaphor at the end? Drain the swamp. This is what the American people are so hungry for. I was on the campaign trail all around the country. I went to, 49 states, everywhere but Illinois, because we gave up on Illinois. But, the point is, everywhere I went, I saw voters who had total contempt for Washington. And that was the overriding theme. That Washington's getting rich at the expense of the rest of us. It's wasteful. It's bureaucratic. It's incompetent. And people know that. They're onto it. And Trump, if he's going to be a success, needs to do that, Dan. I can't agree with you more.
All right, so Donald Trump's first press conference in 6 months will be at 10 o'clock Central Time. You can hear it here on AM 560, The Answer. But is he going to explain? Yeah, it's today.
Oh, okay. All right.
What-
I'll be tuning in. I didn't realize that.
Is your head under a rock? No, but here's the deal, because you're in his inner circle. How is he going to...
It's hard for him to upstage what our president did last night, but anyway, that'll be an interesting press
So
conference.
how is Trump going to separate himself from his businesses? Because I'm sure that question is going to be coming up during the press conference.
I think he's just going to say what he said in the campaign. Look, the American people understand I have businesses, and I have, I'm a successful businessman. That's one of the reasons that people elected me to the presidency. They trust me. They trust my judgment. I'm going to put the country first. It's impossible probably for him to divest of every single business interest he has. But I think he just has to say, look, you knew this when you elected me, that I'm a billionaire businessman. I'm successful. I know how to build effective and productive companies, and I'm going to do that to the government. And I would just go right back at him. And look, why should it be that because you're a successful businessman, that you have business interests, that somehow you're disqualified from being president? That's how we get stuck with people like Barack Obama. How to run a lemonade stand, for goodness sakes.
Let me ask you a question about the forthcoming Republican tax plan. See if you can distill this a little bit. This is your wheelhouse. Yeah. The central idea put forward by Paul Ryan, which appears to have the support of Trump, is to turn the corporate income tax from a tax on the return to capital into a tax only on extraordinary profits by taxing corporate cash flows. Is that sensible tax policy in your estimation? Do you have concerns about that?
Wait, I missed I couldn't quite understand your point. That it's going to be taxing what?
Tax extraordinary profits, which would be done by taxing corporate cash flows rather than from just taxing a return to capital. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I will say this: the big debate that you're going to see over the next couple of months and weeks, and there was a big meeting between the House Ways and Means Committee and the Trump team just 2 days ago. And this is this issue about whether we should have what's called a border-adjustable business tax. And it's something I'm very much in favor of. Some of my conservative friends are against it. But basically, what the House plan would do, which I think would be very smart, is we would start to tax our imports, things that are imported to the country, not things that are exported from the United States. And by the way, this is the way most other countries tax. And I think if we do that, you're going to have a much better trade situation in the United States, because it means if things are produced in Michigan or Illinois or Wisconsin and they're sent, to China or Mexico or India, other countries, it's not taxed when it's here. But when Mexico, China, India bring things into the United States and they're consumed here, we tax them here. It's a very smart way to tax. It's called a border-adjustable tax. You're going to hear a lot more about this in the next couple of months.
Right.
It's going to be a very divisive issue because the retailers like Walmart hate this idea.
Right.
But I'd rather tax what we consume rather than what we produce.
But respond to this. Larry Summers wrote a piece about this, and just let's not attack the messenger. Respond to the example he presents. A retailer who imports goods from abroad for 60 cents incurs 30 cents in labor and interest costs, and then earns a 5-cent margin. With a 20% tax and no ability to deduct import or interest costs, the taxes will substantially exceed 100% of profits, even if there's some offset from like a stronger dollar. So what about that? I mean, that example, that retailer who imports.
I don't think he has his math right there. And, maybe next week when we do the show, we can go into it a little bit more when we have a little bit more time. But the way this would work is that you no longer get to deduct from your expenses your imports. So if you're a big import company, if you're importing toys or you're importing food or you're importing manufactured items, when it comes to the United States, it is like a tariff, but it's a GATT legal tariff. You're going to pay a tax on that. And when you produce something in Michigan, this is the problem. Let me give you one quick example. That company that wanted to move from Michigan, that car company, to Mexico, under the current tax laws, they were smart to do that, because if the car is produced in the United States, in Mexico, they tax it at their border. It's taxed twice. If they move that car company to Mexico, because Mexico has this value-added tax model, if it's sold in the United States, it's not taxed in Mexico. Then when it comes to the United States, we don't tax it either. You can see why we have a huge trade deficit, because of these stupid tax laws. And I think we can dramatically increase our exports and our jobs in this country if we move towards this tax system I'm talking about. And people, I had an article in the Washington Times on this called "The Case for the Border Adjustable Tax." I'd be very honored if you guys would post it so people can see what I'm talking about, because it's a big economic issue. We're going to have a big debate in this country about it.
We'll post that, and I want to pick up the discussion next week when you join us about trade deficits and their importance or not so importance. But
no, trade deficits are not important.
Okay.
But we do need to increase our output in this country,
Yes.
and that's more jobs, and we can do that with a better tax system.
all right, he is Steve Moore, Chief Economist for the Heritage Foundation. Steve, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
And I tweeted out the fish on a treadmill, by the way. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I went from being able to work 14, 16 hours a day with no problem to where I could barely walk a block to the store. I went on to the phytonutrients about 6 months ago, and within a couple of months, my medical doctor had cut my prescriptions down in a little bit smaller dosage. The next time I went back a month later, I walked into the doctor's office and he says, "My gosh, what's happened to you? You don't even look like the same person." He looked at my legs and the swelling had gone down. My blood pressure was down. The venous stasis ulcers that I had had on my legs for the last 4 or 5 years because of the poor circulation were all healed, and I'm feeling far better.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
No more excuses, gentlemen. It's a new year, and you need to stop putting things off, especially when it comes to taking care of your health. Dan Proft here. I know we all hate going to the doctor. That's why Low T Center makes it quick and easy to get your testosterone levels checked. You walk in, take a simple blood test, and with the convenience of their on-site lab, you'll know your results in about 20 minutes. So if you're drinking coffee or energy drinks just to get through the day, or if you always feel like you need a nap, you may have low T. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy and raise your cholesterol, even cause weight gain. So I personally recommend going to my friends at Low T Center. They accept most health insurance. They're in-network for most providers. They have flexible hours, including Saturdays, so don't hesitate to find out what your number is this year. FDA approved are their products. I'm sure glad I found out my number, so call my friends at Low T Center and tell them I sent you. Call 630-409-4305. 630-409-4305 is the number again. 630-409-4305, or go to lowtcenter.com.
Townstone Financial is synonymous with great rates, low closing costs, and phenomenal service to the thousands who have completed purchases and refinances with us since 2002. Hi, my name is Barry Sterner, owner of Townstone Financial. Let's hear about the Townstone experience from one of our customers.
My name is Frank Pellegrini. 30-some years ago, I founded a company called Prairie Title, and we've been doing business with Townstone Financial for many years. Townstone is prepared. Townstone is transparent. Townstone serves the consumer. Townstone is there to make sure that the deal goes right and communicates very seamlessly with us at the closing, before the closing, and after the closing. It is a very well-oiled machine.
Remember, nobody values your business more than Townstone Financial, and I'm always available to answer your questions. Call me now, Barry Sterner, at 312-896-2111. That's 312-896-2111. Or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com.
Townstone Financials, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, Illinois, mortgage licensee 6629 and NMLS 136639, equal housing lender.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity. Is hating our obsession with hate crime laws a hate crime? Acts of barbarism, such as those recently perpetrated against a special needs man in Chicago, invariably prompt a desultory national discussion. Rather than reflecting on what kind of culture begets those who make sport of preying on the mentally impaired, too many conservatives fall into the left's trap of hate crime mania. If you start from the left's premises, you get the left's conclusions. Those worried about a double standard when it comes to the application of hate crime laws should be worried instead about its equal application in furtherance of the left's dismal identity politics. The focus instead should be on deconstructing the cheap moral indignation coming from those who have otherwise cheered the degradation of our culture at every turn, only to plead innocent bystander when they're forced to confront the results of their advocacy, courtesy of Facebook Live. We should take the opportunity to develop the conclusions that flow from conservative premises when we have vacuous news readers like CNN's Don Lemon contemplating the existence of evil and suddenly discovering that mom and dad matter. This is a teachable moment. not a Me Too one.
Mike Rowe here. Today I'm with Frank, one of the heating and cooling pros at 1 Hour. Frank's got his head up a vent right now. How's it going up there? Frank knows what he's talking about. He's been with 1 Hour for how long, Frank? 14 years. That's a long time. Over that time, he's worked on tons of different equipment, taken countless hours of training, and that makes Frank the man.
No, Mark Roseman.
I'm sorry, Frank. Say again?
Mike Rose the man.
I heard him the first time. For any heating need, call 855-1-HOUR today. Say it again, Frank.
Mike Rose the man.
That's what I'm talking about. Each independent franchise is licensed in its respective state or county.
Raj Shah, host of Secure Retirement Radio. You don't have to go underwater anymore. You don't need to go down in that hole with your portfolio and dig yourself out. You can actually put a floor so you never go down ever again and get into a strategy where you just continue to make growth. So not only that your principal is protected, but whatever gains you make, those are protected as well.
Tune in for Secure Retirement Radio with Raj Shah, Sunday mornings at 7 here on AM 560, The Answer.
Hi, I'm Mary Beth. I had a failed root canal, and it was causing me pain. Dr. Neruzzi took care of my tooth, and I got my implant, and then I had another after that fail, and he did that one as well. And the experience was, they were amazing. It was not painful at all like I thought it was going to be, and I was very, very, very nervous about the whole thing. Nobody enjoys getting, implants or dental work. And I procrastinated, but I had to have it done. And he took me in immediately and took care of it. And he made it really affordable. They're very accommodating to people that cannot afford to have it done. I would recommend Dr. Neruzzi to anybody, and I have given him referrals. My own sister had hers done by him.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants. Go to implantsforme.com.
For missing teeth, dental implants are wonderful. The advantages are fantastic. Just remember, implantsforme.com. Implantsforme.com.
Did you know that if you have mutual funds in your IRA, 401k, or investment accounts, that according to Forbes magazine, you could be paying as much as 3.17% in hidden fees every single year? 3.17% may not sound like much, but over 10 years, it's costing you 32%, whether your fund is up or down. Hi, it's Tom Fortino of the Alpha Wealth Group in Chicago and host of the Alpha Wealth Hour on AM 560. This is just one of the reasons I hate mutual funds, and you should too. You may not know this, but you have far more investment options today without the excessive fees. Learn what they are in my free report, The Truth Behind Mutual Funds. What you learn may shock you. To get your free report, The Truth Behind Mutual Funds, call 630-519-4742. There's no obligation. That's 630-519-4742.
Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc.
Another day off for St. Charles East High School students. We'll tell you why. The death of a Northwestern women's basketball player ruled a suicide. And the Cubs to be honored at the White House on Monday. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. Are we living in Nazi Germany? President-elect Trump just rhetorically asked that on Twitter, writing crooked opponents try to belittle his election victory with fake news.
It is complete garbage, I'll tell you that.
Incoming White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus calls it just some foreign agent opposition research, an unsubstantiated report that Russia has salacious, personal, and compromising financial information on the president-elect.
BuzzFeed themselves said this stuff's not credible. The New York Times announced overnight that they couldn't even publish this stuff because they couldn't verify it and they don't believe in it.
President-elect Trump will face questions about that when he holds his first post-election conference with the media he calls dishonest in a couple of hours. 3 of the president-elect's cabinet picks have confirmation hearings today at the Senate, one starting now. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live at the Capitol.
Dave, Secretary of State nominee Rex Tillerson faces tough questions from the Senate Foreign Relations Committee about his business dealings around the world when he was CEO of ExxonMobil. Republican Ron Johnson says he's not concerned about Tillerson's ties to Russia or other nations.
Obviously, if he's exploring oil in different countries, he's going to have a relationship with those types of leaders.
But some Republicans have expressed reservations about Tillerson, including Senator Marco Rubio, who sits on the committee, as well as Senators John McCain and Lindsey Graham. Meanwhile, Senator Jeff Sessions is heading in for day 2 of his confirmation hearing for Attorney General. Dave.
Rachel, the reward is up to $100,000 in Florida on day 3 of the manhunt for a cop killer.
The community's got to stay together.
or we're not going to make it.
She was at a vigil last night for Orlando officer Deborah Clayton, shot in a Walmart parking lot Monday. A sheriff's deputy also died in a crash in the search for suspect Markeith Lloyd. Thousands have been urged to evacuate in Northern California as rivers rise after days of heavy rain, but this woman's taking it in stride in Guerneville.
Life is full of risks and challenges, and things can happen at any moment. We never know.
There's already been flooding in California and Nevada. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Cloudy skies, 27 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. All of the students, thousands of them at St. Charles East High School, getting another sick day today as school leaders are scrubbing classes for a third day to clean the school after a norovirus outbreak. However, the school website does say this morning classes will resume on Thursday and finals will be scheduled as planned on Tuesday, the 17th. President Barack Obama bid farewell to the nation and to Chicagoans in an emotional speech last night. Those who saw the speech say they were moved.
I wish we could have you another 4 to 8 years. I really do. But thank you so much for everything you've done and given us hope.
Speech last night at McCormick Place took place in front of about 20,000 Chicagoans. An investigation is underway after 3 were found dead in a northwest suburban Lake in the Hills home. Sources say the deaths are possibly a murder-suicide involving a woman and her 2 young children. Authorities rule the death of a Northwestern University women's basketball player, Jordan Hankins, a suicide by hanging. The 19-year-old sophomore was found dead Monday in her room on campus. An aide to Illinois Congressman Dan Lipinski has been found dead in a suburban Chicago home. Cook County Medical Examiner's Office says Marianne Viverito was found in the basement of a home in Oak Lawn. Oak Lawn police say the department received a request for a well-being check from an out-of-state police agency. Viverito was the daughter of former state senator and current Stickney Township Supervisor Lou Viverito. World Series champion Cubs honored by the president before he leaves office. The team visiting the White House on Monday. Washington beat the Bulls last night while the Blackhawks were overtime winners over the Red Wings. The news service of Swap.com. Nothing beats the joy of thrift shopping. With millions of items on Swap.com, now you can shop anytime for clothing, toys, and more for the whole family. Now through March 15, save 20% on your first purchase with code SAVE20. Swap.com. Unleash your thrift instinct. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. It is a service of Turnkey.pro. And from the Fox Business Network, here's Ginny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, Amazon is launching its own credit card for Prime members. The Wall Street Journal says the Amazon Visa card will be issued by J.P. Morgan Chase and will not carry an annual fee. Amazon says you'll receive 5% back on all Amazon.com purchases. The Amazon Prime service normally costs $99 a year and includes free 2-day shipping and video streaming. Signet Jewelers says its holiday sales were disappointing, and now it is lowering its forecast for the end of last year. Signet Jewelers stock has declined more than 30% over the past year. And Ethan Allen is predicting its sales and earnings will be lower in the recent quarter. It is planning to substantially increase its traditional and digital marketing. The Dow declined 31 points yesterday, the Nasdaq up 20 to a record, and the S&P closed flat. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
It's 8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
From the Pilgrims at Plymouth Rock to the American Revolution to the Union's victory in the American Civil War, the divine hand of Providence has guided America's rise to greatness. Join Michael Medved as he tells the story of the American miracle. Presented by Active Alarm Company. Thursday, February 2nd at Belvedere Banquets in Elk Grove Village. Tickets for this special luncheon begin at just $32. Get yours today at 560theanswer.com/miracle. Sponsored in part by Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists.
The U.S. economy has been getting stronger, and home values have been increasing. This good economic news presents a unique financial opportunity for you. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Many of our clients have been taking cash out of their homes, a strategy that might work for you. The smart move is to refinance your mortgage right now with Quicken Loans. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.25%, APR 4.43%. Call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN to see how much we can lower your mortgage payment. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 3rd year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
8:07. Let's get an update on the roads in our AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. It's slow going on southbound 53 this morning from Palatine Road to Kirchhoff and Higgins to 390. The Aiden's inbound has delays starting around Elston now. The travel time from Lake Cook to Montrose is 21 minutes, southbound 31. Kennedy, an hour and 8 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 46 minutes from Montrose, 39 to the Express. Outbound 31 to the airport. The Eisenhower, an hour and 3 minutes. Thorndale to the post office. Outbound is 44 minutes to Stevenson. An hour and 5 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 36 minutes. Ryan, 33 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound, heavy 21 to Eau Plaine. Northbound in pockets, LaGrange Road to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, Veterans Memorial stop and go out into the Reagan Tollway. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Mostly cloudy today with occasional rain and drizzle for the afternoon with a high 43. Rain will mix with and possibly change to ice during the evening. There will have areas of freezing drizzle later tonight with a low 25. Snow, sleet, and freezing rain in the morning tomorrow. Little or no accumulation, high 30. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
27 at O'Hare, 29 along the lakefront. Your next news update at 8:30 and continuous news coverage at 560theanswer.com. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Know with Wealth Management Group, hosted by Craig Bolanos. Heard Sunday mornings at 10.
Good morning. Welcome to your Wednesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Now, I've lived long enough to know that race relations are better than they were 10 or 20 or 30 years ago, no matter what some folks say.
This caricature of me in 1986 was not correct.
We should be concerned that intelligence officials leak to the press and won't go and tell the president-elect or the president of the United States himself now, Mr. Obama, what the information is.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So the confirmation hearing for Trump's Secretary of State pick, Rexon, as I have coined him.
And other people have tried to steal that, but every time you say Rexon, I say trademark Dan Proft.
That's mine.
That's
Rexon, Rex Tillerson. He's before the Senate committee today. We'll also have day 2 of the Jeff Sessions confirmation hearing.
Cory Booker is going to testify against him.
And President Obama, on his way out the door last night in Chicago, had this to say about where he leaves America.
In 10 days, the world will witness a hallmark of our democracy. After my election, there was talk of a post-racial America.
No, that's not it.
After my election,
this is it.
That's what you did. You were the change. You answered people's hopes, and because of you, by almost every measure, America is a better, stronger place than it was when we started.
America's a better, stronger place than when we started. He went on to say, importantly, in terms of better, stronger place, safer place is implied. He said, no foreign terrorist organization has successfully planned and executed an attack on our homeland these past 8 years, although Boston and Orlando remind us of how dangerous radicalization can be. Our law enforcement agencies are more effective and vigilant than ever. Oh, by the way, Fort Lauderdale apparently reminds us how dangerous radicalization can be as well, because we find that, according to a report promulgated by Judicial Watch yesterday, that the Fort Lauderdale airport shooter is a Muslim convert who years before joining the U.S. Army, took an Islamic name, downloaded terrorist propaganda, recorded Islamic music online. Perhaps that information could have been unearthed by law enforcement when they had this person in their custody in December. For more on all of these associated topics, we're pleased to be joined again by our friend Dr. Sebastian Gorka, Fox News counterterrorism strategist, author of the New York Times bestseller, Defeating Jihad. Dr. Gorka, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. So why don't we start with what President Obama had to say yesterday generally, and then we'll get to the specifics. Is America a stronger place in the national security sense than it was 8 years ago?
Let's just ignore the politics and the hyperbole and the narrative and the spin. Let's look at the facts. ISIS holds territory in multiple countries around the world, from West Africa to Syria. It has recruited more than 80,000 jihadis. It has managed to inspire attacks across America. In just the last 2.5 years, more than 120 people have been arrested or killed in America linked to ISIS. The Orlando killer, as he was mowing down 49 people, decided to call the 911 dispatcher and tell the dispatcher, I am doing this for Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the caliph, the emperor of the new Islamic State. One last data point. According to the SITE intelligence group, outside of Iraq and Syria, so outside of the war zone, in the last 9 months, we have seen a jihadi attack occur every 83 hours. Not 83 days, 83 hours. So what do you think, Dan? Are we safer or not?
No, we're not. And that's some of those good points that you made. But what could President Obama have done to try and stop the violence and stop the killings?
Allow reality to actually drive our policies, not allow political correctness to distort our analysis. Think about one thing. Again, these are just facts that seem to not make it into his speech. Recently, 60, that's 60, Central Command analysts, so intelligence analysts sitting in Tampa, Florida, helping to support our wars in the Middle East, complained to their chain of command that their analyses, their intelligence product, was being politically censored, distorted, or lost. Because when they said ISIS is winning, it didn't meet the White House requirement of the narrative that we are destroying ISIS. So the intelligence was doctored. Now, we had problems during the Vietnam War, but it was never as bad as 60 analysts having their work be censored. So first things first, we have to get political correctness out of our threat assessment system, and I can assure you after January 20th, that will be the reality.
Well, the other piece of that, he said, in terms of America being stronger, our law enforcement and intelligence agencies are more effective and vigilant than ever. Well, Fort Lauderdale Airport on Friday suggests maybe that statement is difficult to support with the evidence as well. I wonder what your assessment and explanation, if you have one, for how this individual can be detained by the FBI, kind of outsourced to local police for a commitment for 4 days for mental health concerns, and then be released on December 8th, given his gun back, and no knowledge, apparently, internally. We don't know this to be true, but it certainly wasn't disclosed into those Judicial Watch story that came out yesterday, that he had been a radicalized Muslim convert before he even joined the U.S. Army, before he was less than honorably discharged from the U.S. Army. So what does that say about our law enforcement and intelligence agencies?
Look, I work very closely with the patriots that are in our state, local, and federal law enforcement and our military. If there are lapses, if there are balls that are dropped, I always start to look at the leadership. I look at the political appointees. I don't look at the people pounding the pavement or the special agents that are, manning the field offices. The fact is we have had a distortion, a political distortion from way on up high. The fact that you have the Attorney General of the United States, the most senior law enforcement officer, try to censor the transcript of Omar Mateen's call to the 911 dispatcher, that tells you what you need to know. So the fact is, I don't blame local law enforcement. It is the rules of engagement. It is what the federal government's leadership has imposed that most often is the problem. And if you deny who the enemy is, if you pass words to the outrageous extent that we've had multiple ISIS attacks in the United States, and as president we say we haven't had a foreign managed attack on the United States since I've been president, that's like Clinton saying what sexual relations don't mean and do mean and what is. It is blatant perversion of reality that leads to the endangerment of American citizens.
Sebastian Gorka, I wanted to get your take on CNN's exclusive that they're touting all last night and this morning that they have classified documents on Russian interference that has compromising information about Trump financially and personally. And they claim it's a 2-page synopsis out of 36 pages that was compiled by a British operative that says that Trump surrogates were in contact with Russian operatives during the campaign. Do you believe it?
I'm not going to waste your listeners' time on fake news. When the people who peddled this originally said they can't verify it, then you know everything. When the bag carrier, Gray Lady, the New York Times said they're not going to run this because it's so fallacious and bogus, what are we talking about? Let's just ignore this and move on. It is so childishly political, it's absurd.
Well, BuzzFeed, I understand, but it's CNN.
So what? It's still the same. It's still the same unverifiable claims. Who cares who reports it? Mother Jones wouldn't. Right. Mother Jones wouldn't publish it. Mother Jones, which is, David Corn. You can't get to the left of David Corn in this country without wearing a hammer and sickle T-shirt, and he wouldn't publish it.
There you go. That's enough said.
But on the larger topic of Russia, as someone whose family knows firsthand the repression of the former Soviet Union, what is your view on some of the rhetoric and, kind of cutting through all of the fake news reporting, even from allegedly real news organizations, your assessment of Trump and the Trump administration's rhetorical posture towards Putin to this point?
Look, I'm not going to talk for the putative, the next administration or the transition team, but I'll tell you, I've met many times, frequently, almost on a daily basis, with General Flynn. I've met Mr. Trump on more than one occasion. These are individuals who know who Vladimir Putin is. As the former director of the Defense Intelligence Agency, which is 10 times more significant in budget and manpower and capacity than the CIA, General Flynn knows who this former KGB colonel is. So again, it's reality versus spin. You've got to go to the source. Read. Your listeners should check out two things. General Flynn's book, Field of Fight, tells you everything you need to know about the next National Security Advisor and what he's going to be advising to Mr. Trump, and a speech that is overlooked. The most important national security speech of the last 8 years is Donald Trump's speech at Youngstown. If you want to understand what he thinks about the world and how America is going to return and is going to have a pole position as a leader for the values of the founding, have a look at General Flynn's book and the President-elect Trump's speech from Youngstown.
And if you want more of Sebastian Gorka, go to upstream-ideas.com. Sat down, had the opportunity to do a long-form interview back at the end of October, right before the election, and Sebastian Gorka weighs in on a lot of topics which are still relevant as we're on the cusp of a new president of the United States. Dr. Sebastian Gorka, author of Defeating Jihad, and you can get his insights routinely at thegorkabriefing.com. Dr. Gorka, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. God bless.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
plenty of gray skies out there. Yes, another day of gray, but we will have occasional rain and drizzle this afternoon, a high of 42. Then tonight, that drizzle turns into freezing rain. And tomorrow morning, we can have snow and sleet in the morning, then cloudy and colder by the afternoon, a high of 30 degrees. Any drama on the roadways? Here's Jim Telemonte.
There's a high travel time on your inbound Kennedy, Amy. Delays start at Austin. It's an hour and 13 minutes. So O'Hare to downtown, 47 minutes from Montrose, 43 in the Express. Up on 34 minutes downtown to the airport. The Eden's much improved. 20 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose, up on 24. The Eisenhower, an hour and 12 minutes. Thorndale to the post office. 58 minutes from Manheim, up on 42 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 3 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, up on 35 minutes. The Ryan is 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State, delays are northbound, LaGrange Road to the Hinsdale Oasis, Ogden to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Veterans Memorial slow, from the Boughton Toll to the Reagan Tollway. Southbound 53 is heavy, Palatine Kirchhoff. That's traffic on AM 560, The Answer.
No, you just heard me read the forecast. Gray days, cold conditions, no sun, but I know a place where it's warm and sunny, somewhere like Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic, and that's where we're heading this year. Joe Walsh, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson. We're staying at the Secrets Cap Cana Resort and Spa. It's an unlimited luxury resort. It just opened in November. It has 5 gourmet restaurants, 7 bars, unlimited premium drinks, and, of course, room service, 24-hour room service. And the resort has sparkling pools and access to pristine beaches. So join us in Punta Cana.
Ooh, Karush! That was me doing my reprisal of Nick Cage and Leaving Las Vegas.
Okay, what about this one?
Mom, stop embarrassing me in front of my friends! That was me doing Dennis Hopper and Hoosiers.
Get more information and book your trip by visiting 560theanswer.com, keyword passport. Now, the trip is filling up fast, I should say, so don't wait. And the price that Apple Vacations has secured for us is incredible. Really, it's a great deal. And it's exclusive only to us, but it will expire, so don't miss out. Visit 560theanswer.com, keyword passport.
I like the pain.
I have actually been on Balance of Nature for a year now. I have MS, and I recently had an MRI. This is the first year that I've had a stable MRI, so I'm thrilled. When I have an MRI with MS, usually there are glowing spots that come through, which is damage on the nerves in my brain and my spinal cord, and when they're glowing, it means they're active. And then my last MRI, they pulled it up, and I honestly couldn't believe that it was my MRI. There was nothing glowing. And in fact, the dark spots were shrinking. They were healing. And the doctor actually said to me, I think we're in remission. I was so happy. I had no idea that that could be my reality.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Great talent is the driving force behind your successful business. If you don't have the right people in key roles, then you have talent gaps. IMC Solutions identifies those gaps and delivers expertise in recruiting the right talent to fill them, leaving you free to succeed.
Hi, I'm Linda Nichols. A past client called because they don't have an HR department, but they need HR expertise and knowledge to do things like write job descriptions, revise employee handbooks, manage compliance and benefits. We help them by providing on-demand HR services. It was on a part-time basis and a project basis. Our consultant spent time with the client but was able to do most of the work off-site, sparing the client's time and resources. As the client grows, the consulting time can adjust to their needs.
IMC Solutions understands the unique challenges of your business, making the tough job of hiring easy. Get started on finding your next hire today at imcsolutions.com or call Linda Nichols at 630-637-6200.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, yesterday in his farewell speech, President Obama had this to say about race relations.
After my election, there was talk of a post-racial America. And such a vision, however well-intended, was never realistic.
Well, you said it, not us. That realistic.
Race remains a potent and often divisive force in our society.
Especially by demagogues.
Now, I've lived long enough to know that race relations are better than they were 10 or 20 or 30 years ago, no matter what some folks say.
That's right. They are in spite of you, Mr. President. Here's the point, though.
Yeah.
They may be better, but not good enough for New Trier. Not good enough for New Trier High School.
Oh, what are they doing up
One
there?
of our-
The leafy suburb.
Oh, the Tony North Shore.
Yes, it is.
The Underwood Academy of Illinois. They are having...
Are they talking like this?
Well, mostly like... They are having...
You don't say. My face hurts.
Let me read a letter in the proper
letter,
voice
Maria.
from New Trier to parents and or guardians. And by guardian at New Trier and the New Trier.
The nanny?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
The butler,
I'm
the
so
housekeeper.
This
Yeah.
is so not everybody is rich.
No,
they're not.
No,
And
I
not
know.
Kenilworth too. There's
No,
some
sad
there's some
stories.
Section 8 housing up
Yeah,
there in
right.
Kenilworth.
Mm-hmm.
Where all the Christians live.
They're
That's
having
another story.
They're having an all-school seminar day 2017 to understand today's struggle for racial civil rights. And nothing like, I don't know, a couple thousand white kids of privilege getting together to talk about the struggle for racial civil rights, led by a bunch of Champagne socialists that are employed by Champagne socialists. Yeah. Dear everybody in New Trier High School, we're holding all-day seminar. It does hurt. It
Doesn't
hurts
it?
my jaw.
An all-day seminar, I heard.
With the theme, Understanding Today's Struggle for Racial Civil Rights.
Are
This-
they down with the struggle? That's so cute.
This
is
is
this down with the struggle day?
A
Is
day
there
of
themes?
regular attendance for students who will hear from 2 keynote speakers.
Okay, who are the keynote speakers?
And choose 2 workshops presented by staff, students, and experts on the topic. In preparation for the day, I'd like to invite you to attend a parent group program, How We Can Talk About Identity and Race. And here's some of the offerings for that one-day all-school seminar.
Okay, let's see what you'll sign up for.
February 28th, 2017.
Everybody at home, see what you're going to sign up for.
Here's some practicums.
Okay.
Developing empathy and acceptance by reading picture books to children.
Okay, that you're kidding me.
That's a double session that students must register for. That's not optional. Art and racial civil rights. How art has impacted racial civil rights past and present.
That sounds interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Better than picture books. Go
How about
on.
this one? Disney and racial stereotypes.
Oh, please.
Watch classic Disney animated films and discuss how these films influence childhood development of racial identities.
I'm going to pass on that. What else you got for me?
From Kareem to Kaepernick, athlete activists in the modern era.
I'd take that one. I'd go to that breakout session.
Mm-hmm. How about this one?
Mm-hmm.
Tracing food inequality, food deserts in Chicago.
That is a real problem.
No.
I had to try and find a grocery store on the south side, and it took a long time, and I had to drive miles away.
Media literacy and how people of color are depicted in movies, sports, and advertising. Microaggressions, not so small.
I skip on that
Participants will have the opportunity to develop a deeper understanding of racial microaggressions.
one. Dan, is there role playing in that session?
Western bias and science.
No, science, please.
Understanding implicit bias. Being a biased person doesn't make you a bad person.
No. What else you got?
Emotional intelligence and race relations.
No.
Why we do what we do.
When we do the things that we do.
Oh, boy. That's
which-
New Trier. That's allegedly one of the best public high schools in the state.
What are you going to sign up for?
Pay attention to what's going on in your local school districts, parents and or guardians.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
On January 22nd, 1973, the Supreme Court handed down the Roe v. Wade decision, legalizing abortion in America. Almost 60 million abortions have occurred since that date, and the lives of millions of women have been impacted by that decision. On January 13th, Eric Scheidler, Executive Director of the Pro-Life Action League, will be the featured speaker at the Catholic Citizens Forum Luncheon. Eric, a longtime pro-life activist, will address the effectiveness of public witness on the damage abortion has caused, tell of past victories, and lay out the future goals of the pro-life movement. They'll recount the progress made in changing hearts and minds, reflected in the opinion polls that report a majority of Americans are now pro-life. Join us at the Union League Club of Chicago on January 13th to hear this important talk. For information, go to CatholicCitizens.org or call Maureen at 708-352-5834. That's 708-352-5834.
For premium content that complements what we do on this show, visit and sign up at upstream-ideas.com. Interviews with opinion leaders like you just heard from Dr. Sebastian Gorka with our Against the Current series. Podcasts of Illinois Rising, our Sunday program that focuses on Illinois politics and policy. 60-second commentaries from yours truly, as well as Follow the Logic Man on the Street interviews, including yesterday with attendees to Obama's farewell address. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, he was there. He witnessed it firsthand. ABC7's political reporter Charles Thomas will be here. And also you heard from Dan Proft when he was on CBS last night. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
8:32, President-elect Donald Trump tearing into what he calls a political witch hunt amid reports that Russia has some compromising information about him. Incoming White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus telling NBC's Today Show,
"This is not an intelligence document. This is some retired agent somewhere out in the world that was doing opposition research on Donald Trump during the campaign."
Without directly referencing the report, Trump tweeted out against what he referred to as fake news. Senators considering President-elect Trump's nomination of Rex Tillerson for Secretary of State today. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker will testify against Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions, nominated for Attorney General. Utah Senator Mike Lee worries about what Booker will talk about.
I'm not sure what he's going to say, whether he's going to speak broadly or whether he's going to speak specifically. It would surprise me if he came with a personal attack against Senator Sessions.
It's believed the senator has never testified against another senator nominated for a presidential cabinet position. A couple of automotive stories making news this morning. Volkswagen expected to plead guilty to criminal charges and pay a $4.3 billion fine, settling allegations its cars were programmed to cheat emissions tests. Honda recalling more of its vehicles over the Takata airbag scandal. The owners of 772,000 more Honda and Acura vehicles will have the airbag inflator replaced in the front passenger seat airbag. All of the students at St. Charles East High School getting another sick day as school leaders are scrubbing down the school for a third day. According to the school website this morning, classes will resume on Thursday. Chicago sports. Bulls beat Washington 101-99 in the NHL. Blackhawks over Detroit in overtime 4-3. The news service of Staples. Are you resolved to spend less this year? Staples has low prices on printers, ink, and toner cartridges. And now, during Staples' January printing event, buy one HP ink and get the second at 40% off. Ends 1/14. Restrictions may apply. See store or staples.com for details. Staples, make more happen. 8:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The Mike Gallagher Show.
Today's Democratic Party, the party that thinks it's unreasonable to expect that a voter show their ID in order to cast a ballot. It's just blatant. They are just on the side. I don't know how else you describe it. If you're a Democrat and you resent this accusation, please call me. When I say Democrats are on the side of lawlessness, tell me where I'm wrong.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, roasted fresh daily in Batavia, Illinois.
I'm Dan Proft.
And I'm Amy Jacobson.
And we want to say thanks to each and every one of you who helped us to reach our goal of providing food for a year and water for life for 2,000 kids and counting in Haiti and Guatemala.
Your generosity means that these children will have a shot at living a happy and healthy life despite the enormous challenges they face.
And just because the Christmas season is over and we're starting a new year, that doesn't mean the need has gone away. You can still make a difference in the life of a child by making a $50 donation to Food for the Poor. Food for the Poor is one of America's largest and most trusted charities. Since 1982, they've been helping the poorest of the poor by directing resources directly to those in the greatest need.
Just call 855-880-3663. That's 855-880-FOOD, or go to 560theanswer.com, keyword food.
And thanks to the many business benefactors who supported this campaign, when you hear their ads on the radio station this year, we'd ask that you support their businesses as a way of thanking them for their generosity.
8:36. Let's get an update on the roads in our AM 560 traffic center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the inbound Kennedy, delays start at Austin. It is an hour and 10 minutes from O'Hare to downtown, 43 minutes from Montrose, and 42 in the Express. Outbound 12 minutes to Montrose, 29 to the airport. Edens, 20 minutes Lake Hook to Montrose. Outbound 24. The Eisenhower, it's an hour and 12 minutes from Thorndale to the post office. 58 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 39 to Thorndale. And on Stevenson, a crash at Lamont Road is cleared, but it's an hour and 8 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, 57 minutes from the Tri-State. Outbound good. The Ryan, 29 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, bottled up, Bryn Mawr to North Avenue, and 18th to the Stevenson. Northbound slow 31st to the Stevenson. Northbound Tri-State slow, the Stevenson to 31st. And from the Reagan's to North Avenue, Veterans Memorial slow southbound from the Army Trail Toll to St. Charles, northbound 63rd to the Reagan Tollway. Traffic answers when you need them most on Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Cloudy, rain and drizzle this afternoon, high 42. All that wet stuff will freeze overnight. Drizzle, rain, and snow, low 25. 29 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 9. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the IRS Radio Hour with attorney Stephen Leahy every Sunday afternoon at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer.
What is up, Dan and Amy? Yesterday, President Obama makes his farewell address from Chicago and didn't mention much about Chicago. I didn't hear you're doing a heck of a job, Rami. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, he didn't get a standing O. He didn't single him out.
I heard how America is allegedly better and stronger than it was 8 years ago, but I didn't hear that specific to Chicago. I mean, such a celebratory mood with all of the potentates and members of the Vanguard class in attendance at the McCormick Place last night. And why not celebrate how they scale this successful governance model here nationally to generate the kind of success at the national level that we enjoy here in Chicago?
Well, he said that, some Americans aren't better than other Americans, Dan, don't you know?
We should reject the first dawning of every attempt to alienate any portion of our country from the rest.
Yeah.
Or to enfeeble the sacred ties that make us one. America, we weaken those ties when we allow our political dialogue to become so corrosive that people of good character aren't even willing to enter into public service. We weaken those ties when we define some of us as more American than others. When we write off the whole system as inevitably corrupt.
Do we weaken those ties, Mr. President, when we refer to half the nation as deplorables? Do we weaken unredeemable? Do we weaken the nation, Mr. President, when we refer to people who disagree with us on matters regarding climate change, what should be done about that issue, tax policy, healthcare policy? When we refer to them as bigoted neo-Luddites, which is essentially what he said when he referred to people who reject science and reason. He's talking about people who disagree with him.
Mm-hmm. Well, I saw you last night on CBS 2 with Erica Sargent.
Yes.
Giving your response to President Obama's farewell speech.
So you watched the president's farewell address tonight. What did you think about his speech?
I mean, it's a speech, we've more or less heard before. It was kind of a quasi-State of the Union. It's struck a lot of the same notes in terms of things he says he's accomplished. Some veiled shots at those who disagree with him and have disagreed with him over the past 8 years. The moment when he addressed Michelle, the moment when he addressed his daughter, I think those are authentic moments. They are poignant moments. I think it's a nice family. I think he's a good husband and a good father, and she's a good mother, and the two girls seem to be like budding superstars. I think that's real. But in terms of his politics, no.
And then she fell off the chair.
Yeah, I had even stronger language than what CBS played, and I just mentioned, I mean, against the backdrop of the, in raw numbers, the violent crime capital of America, and the 116th ranked city out of 116 cities in a fiscaltimes.com study in terms of fiscal stability, cities with more than 200,000 in population. Chicago's 116 out of 116. So I guess it's a perfect backdrop for President Obama to talk about his fake accomplishments at the national levels, birthed by Chicago as he was, just as we hear routinely from Tiny Dancer and the political class here about their fake accomplishments in Chicago. For more on this, more perspective, we're joined by our friend Charles Thomas, ABC7 political reporter. Charles, thanks so much for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, guys. Always good to be here.
Good morning. And so I know it was like a pep rally atmosphere at the McCormick Place, and I appreciate that most members of the Chicago Press Corps were able to keep their weeping to a low blubber as President Obama announced his departure. But what about that? What about the failure to really address the state of affairs in the community he calls home?
Well, you know, it's almost Orwellian that he would do a speech like this in a place like Chicago, Illinois, because if you talk about dysfunction, I mean, we got it, not only on the city level, but also on the state level. So he comes to his home state to give this speech to talk about all that's been accomplished over the past 8 years or the previous 8 years. And he's doing it in a place where, if anything, we've gone in the opposite direction. Keep in mind that Barack Obama has a built-in legacy. He is the first African-American president. People will be talking about him for as long as there are students of American history. He'll always have a place. I think he's very concerned about that being the only part of his legacy. So he's almost obsessive at this point about reminding people about the accomplishments of his past 8 years. But again, to do it in Chicago, wow. When you think about, as you mentioned, the violence, when you think about the political dysfunction, the fiscal problems, and to be the first African-American president to come to a place that has the highest black unemployment rate in the country, speaking of Illinois, and very credible studies, and a place where you have this epidemic of violence that is, as you mentioned, the violence capital, murder capital of America, and not to mention those things during the speech. Again, it's almost Orwellian in scope because you're just flying in the face of reality. You're manufacturing your own reality in that regard by not mentioning those failures, really.
And we can't, forget about that horrific video that came out just last week showing 4 African Americans beating up on the white mentally challenged student. I mean, I was thinking that he would call for racial harmony and that we need to get along. We need to accept the incoming presidency.
I think he alluded to that in his speech, that African Americans have to begin to think about the other side. They have to think about this not just in terms of their own problems, but in the problems of America at large. I think he did mention that, and that stood out to me when he mentioned it. I don't know if any other people really grasped that, because he was basically saying to black Americans, you've got a ways to go as well in terms of trying to understand what's happening in this country.
Well, it's interesting. Also, just again, choosing Chicago, there's obvious reasons, and then some complicated challenges, like where Chicago finds itself, where Illinois finds itself. But also, with respect to some of what he had to say, Chicago is one of the few places he can go where Democrats are still relatively energized, because he finds himself being the head of a Democrat Party that is in the super minority nationally. It is where Republicans have been in this state for so long, demoralized and in an insular minority. That's what Democrats are nationally, except in places like Chicago.
Yeah, but I don't think a lot of Democrats at this point, Dan, really understand that. I don't think they get that yet. I mean, I think that a lot of Democrats at this point still can't get their arms around what happened in November, and that's a hangover that just hasn't subsided yet. And I think you certainly felt a lot of that last night. I felt a lot of the same vibe in that room last night that I felt at his acceptance speech in 2012 and in Grant Park in 2008. They just haven't at this point gotten their arms around what they're going to need to do to rebuild themselves yet. I mean, the Democratic Party right now is still a bunch of scattered lifeboats around a sinking ship, and they're trying to figure out a way to regroup.
Well, the other noticeable omission as he was, going down his kind of federal team, and his family, of course. But the notable omission is great to be back home. No mention of Tiny Dancer.
Boy, the little guy.
What about giving a little shout out to the little guy? What about Tiny Dancer? About Rahm and Amy Rule? They were there.
Wow! Isn't that something? Yeah. A guy pointed. I did a story yesterday, a preview piece, and I basically had a young African American man on the South Side talking about how Obama's presidency has been mostly symbolism and no substance. He said that on television and put it in my piece at 4, 5, and 6, which I thought was a little different. It was a different perspective. But this guy also told to me that he reminded black Chicagoans that Barack Obama's legacy in the city of Chicago is Rahm Emanuel. He gave us Rahm Emanuel, and without Barack Obama, there would be no mayor Rahm Emanuel. And he's absolutely true. That is the one legacy that he has in the city of Chicago. And this whole business of a $1.1 billion CTA grant to rebuild the whatever parts of the CTA, that's going to help Rahm Emanuel in his quest for a third term, because now Rahm has control of $1 billion worth of patronage that he can throw at and whomever. Wow, which is going to make him even more difficult to beat in 2019.
Hey, from your sources, are you hearing? Do you have some names of possible people running against Mayor Emanuel?
I haven't heard about too many. I haven't heard a lot about that at this point. I mean, of course I'm looking like everybody else, but you hear about Tom Dart and some of the stuff that's going on polling-wise, showing Tom Dart perhaps beating Rahm Emanuel in a 2019 election. But then you also hear about these new slams against Tom Dart, these problems that he's having at the jail. I wonder if that's a coincidence or whatever. But
made up problems.
Yeah. Well, you had a few thousand people at McCormick Place yesterday cheering the demise of the city of Chicago. So perhaps the cheering will continue.
They got the band back together one last time.
I guess.
Let's see if they can still play.
All right, he is.
Oh wait, we didn't ask him. Were any reporters crying in the media?
No reporters cried last night.
Okay.
There was. I remembered some crying back in 2008.
Oh, so do I. I was there too. A lot of people crying.
Yeah, but I don't remember too much crying last night. I think again, a lot of people are still trying to get their arms around. Let me say one more thing before I leave. I think that a lot of Barack Obama's legacy, whatever that is or will be determined by Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And Donald Trump's presidency. If Donald Trump can truly, put this in quotes, make America great again, then I think Barack Obama's legacy will become more of a Jimmy Carter kind of legacy. But if Donald Trump's is a one-term train wreck president, then I think Barack Obama is going to come off looking real good in that regard. So. Let's see what happens.
All right. He is Charles Thomas, ABC7 political reporter. Charles, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Mr. Proft, when you cough, you don't cough on people and you don't cough in your hand. You cough in your elbow. Okay?
You're not the boss of me.
I'm a germaphobe. Today, the weather is going to be cloudy with occasional rain and drizzle by this afternoon. Pretty warm, a high of 42 degrees, so enjoy it because tomorrow we're going to have snow and ice in the morning. Leave yourself some extra time to get to work, that's for sure. And it's going to be cloudy and colder, a high of 30 degrees. Let's get those travel times. Are they high? Here's Jim Delamonte.
Well, Amy, your inbound Kennedy is getting a little better. The delay started Foster. It's an hour and 3 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 44 minutes from Montrose, 35 in the Express. Outbound 27 to O'Hare. Eden's 21 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 25. The Eisenhower, an hour and 21 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop, an hour and 6 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 40 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound, it's good. The Ryan, 29 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, stop and go Lawrence to North Avenue. And slow 18th to the Stevenson. And northbound, there are delays, 31st to the Stevenson. I'm Jim Talamonte in the AM 560 Traffic Center.
So excited to tell you about Michael Medved and his special luncheon, which will be held Thursday, February 2nd, when he retells the story of the American Miracle presented by Active Alarm Company. Learn how a record of improbabilities demonstrate that historical events unfolded according to a master plan. Tickets start at just $32 and include a plated lunch. VIP tickets are also available and include a meet and greet with author Michael Medved, plus a copy of his new book, and he'll sign it. So visit 560theanswer.com/miracle for more information. And you can win a pair of tickets right now by being caller number 10. Caller number 10 to 312-642-5600. Again, Michael Medved will be joining us Thursday, February 2nd. Caller number 10 wins 2 free tickets, 312-642-5600. Good luck.
Hey, are you thinking about the IRS right now? Man, if the IRS is coming after you, your problem, your IRS problem is there day and night. You need help to fight the IRS. I recommend you call my very good friend, Attorney Stephen Leahy of Open Tax Resolutions. Hey, he's got a special offer going on right now. If you're not certain about your position with the IRS, he will pull your personal IRS transcripts and find out exactly where you stand for free. Find out where you stand. If you owe back taxes, if you have unfiled returns. Hey, if you're afraid of the IRS, call my friend Steve Leahy now. 312-664-6649. Steve's the host of the IRS Radio Hour, heard every Sunday at 5 right here on AM 560. He's also a really good friend of mine, and I don't know of anybody better in dealing with the IRS. Call him now. Steve Leahy, 312-664-6649. That's 312-664-6649.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm telling you right now, it's awesome. I was trying to get my blood pressure regulated, okay? And like after 3 days of taking this thing, my blood pressure went back down to normal. I am ecstatic. I am so happy with this stuff. It is my savior.
This was the first summer that I have not had to have a steroid shot to help me to breathe.
The reason why I'm taking it because I've got Hep C. Once I began taking your stuff, it took a few months, but believe it or not, my liver enzymes are way down and it's normal now. It works.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life, but I should have ordered it like 15 years ago.
Jim owns a gym, and his personal trainers love printing fitness plans. But it takes more than love to run a business, like ink, lots of ink. That's why business owners like Jim go to Office Depot Office Max, where for a limited time, you can buy any HP ink cartridge and get the second one 40% off, online or in store. Because at Office Depot Office Max, we're here for you and the work you love. Office Depot Office Max. Gear up for great. Ends January 14th, limit 2. Multi-packs count as one.
Now that I've joined Audible, my runtime has become more, well, emotional. As I listen to Nicholas Sparks' new novel, 2 by 2.
I pulled out my phone again and lingered over the images with a smile on my face. More grateful than ever to be the father to such an amazing little girl.
Good thing no one can see me cry out here.
Get 2 by 2 free when you start a 30-day trial at audible.com/actnow. Audible. Turn anytime into story time.
If you own a business, you'll do everything you can to keep the lights on. The thing is, keeping those lights on can be much more cost-effective than you ever imagined. And Twin Supplies can help. Twin Supplies specializes in helping businesses, public entities, and nonprofits get energy efficient with their lighting and take advantage of incentives from utility companies to help with energy improvement costs. From restaurants to schools, churches, and stadiums, they'll walk you through every step to realize maximum money savings and energy efficiency. Your maintenance staff will spend less time changing bulbs with worry-free fixtures that feature up to a 10-year warranty. Plus, the quality of your lighting will improve, resulting in improved working conditions and safety. Find out how much your commercial business can save with a free energy audit from Twin Supplies. Utility companies change their incentives frequently and funds can run out. Now is the time to take action. Don't wait. Call 630-590-5138 or log on to twinsupplies.net and take charge of your business's energy efficiency. twinsupplies.net.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Chris Veldman of ServiceMaster DSI, the largest ServiceMaster franchise in the United States and a customer of Signature Bank. In our business, we respond to disaster, and we never know when disaster will strike, whether it's flooding in Louisiana or a house fire in Chicago. Not all banks understand that need for flexibility, but Signature Bank does. That's why we consider them so much more than a bank. They have been our business partner since 2006, when their three co-founders, Mick, Kevin, and Brian, started the bank. Signature Bank is a key part of our growth strategy at ServiceMaster DSI.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The secret
From
to
the
how the
Pilgrims
rich
at
keep
Plymouth
getting
Rock
richer is
to
by
the
passing
American
down.
Revolution to the Union's victory in the American Civil War, the divine hand of providence has guided America's rise to greatness. Join Michael Medved as he tells the story of the American miracle, presented by Active Alarm Company. Thursday, February 2nd at Belvedere Banquet in Elk Grove Village. Tickets for this special luncheon begin at just $32. Get yours today at 560theanswer.com/miracle. Sponsored in part by Best Dental Group.
The secret to how the rich keep getting richer is by passing down their wealth, generation to generation. If you do the same thing, you'll be leaving a legacy and be doing one of the most important things possible for the people you love. The ugly truth is, you don't have an estate